This is the legendary KLZ, AM 560, KLZ HD Denver, and online streaming at 560thesource.com since 1922. KLZ Denver.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hit it. Our Lady of Blessed Acceleration, don't fail me now.
It's time for Drive Radio, presented by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Whether you need help diagnosing a problem,
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Or just want to learn about all things automotive,
Hey, how exactly does a Positrack rear end on a Plymouth work? It just does.
then you've come to the right place. So start your engines, buckle up, and get ready to ride. Drive Radio starts now on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Drive Radio. I'm your host, John Rush. In studio with me today, I've got some special guests. We've got Paul Leuenberger from Chrome Insurance, or do you want to go by your other?
You can say American National. Probably.
American National. So Paul was planning on being here. Him and I talked last week, and little did we know we were going to have all of this weather activity going on with the very, just a few days prior to him coming on air with us. So timing, Paul, we probably couldn't have picked that any better. So Paul's our resident insurance guy. We're going to talk about some different things that will help you. Let's hopefully help you. And if you were one of those poor souls that got caught in some of the weather and had some damage, and I've got family members that did, so a lot of people were affected by it. We'll talk about some of that here in just a few minutes. Dennis Brewster from Extreme is with me also.
Yep, from down south.
Yep, and so for those of you watching on YouTube, I'm just going around the table. Paul, Dennis is right to my left, and then Dorsey Johnson is immediately to my left from Arvada West, and both these guys are veteran technicians, shop owners. So again, if you've got a question, we'd love to hear from you. 303-477-5600 is our phone number, and it is Memorial Day weekend. I've got a special tribute that will play around the noon hour for all of the folks that have either served our country or those families whose greatest sacrifice was having a family member give up their lives so that we all could have freedom. We want to say a special thank you to those that have served, families that have been affected by it. I know, Dennis, you've had folks serve. I myself have had, sons serve, and fortunately have not had anybody in my family that's had to give their life for our country, but I know that my boys would have.
We had one.
Had that would have been the case. So thank you. Yes, and so thank you to all of you out there that have served, are serving. Some of you listen overseas. You listen via our podcast. And those that are, we do appreciate it very, very, very much. We would not have the freedoms that we have today. And those of you from the greatest generation, had you not done what you did, including those of you that weren't actually involved in the military but helped at home and doing different things to make sure the war effort kept going on, thank you, or we might all be speaking German today.
That's right.
So we appreciate all that you did to sacrifice for our country. So those of you that are out there and want to call in and talk to us, by all means do so, 303-477-5600. Few announcements to make. As most of you know, we've got some new sponsors that we've brought on to Drive Radio. First and foremost, Isaac Bouchard, our broker. If you've got a car need, buying, selling, advice, whatever it happens to be, give him a call, 303-475-1462. Paul, who's with us today, we'll talk more about him and what he can actually do to help you out with the insurance side of the fence as we go through the show today. And then we've got a new sponsor that'll be coming on with us the 1st of June. I'm still going to talk about them. They're not quite ready with their website and so on, but Quick Tread is the name of the company. Ken Bauer and Mike, those guys are going to come on board with us and will be our resident tire suppliers, experts, etc. They literally can do any tire you want. They're really geared towards the wholesale, us as fleets, shops. But, if you just are a regular, Joe, consumer, driver, etc. You need a set of tires. You want a place you can trust. They'll come out right to your home or office, do the install right there. It's all mobile. They do a great job. And if you need more information on that, send us an email. I'm not going to give the phone number out quite yet because they're not quite geared up for the retail aspect just yet, but they will be by June 1st, so give them another week and they'll be ready. But let me know if you need a tire, and we can get you taken care of with Ken and Mike. And those are, by the way, great guys. I had a long conversation with Ken yesterday, and really, really solid guys, solid company. I feel privileged to have them be a part of our family. And I know, Dorsey, you used them this last week.
Yeah.
And good guys.
Worked out well.
Yeah, very good guys. And so those of you that are shop owners, fleet owners, etc., if you need somebody that can help you out with your tires, by all means, give them a call, and they'll help you out, and I'll get you that information. So just send me an email, john@drive-radio.com, and we'll get you all fixed up in that aspect. And then, of course, our normal sponsors that we've got, all of our Colorado Select, Napa Auto Care Centers. If you need anything at all on your vehicle, repair, maintenance, advice, whatever, just go to our website, coloradoselect.com, look up a shop near you, and ask whatever question you might have. Stop in, say hi. All of them are highly recommended. I know every one of them on a personal basis, and we would not recommend them as a show if we didn't feel strongly in their ability to help you. Napa Auto Parts, of course, is also one of our major sponsors, and as is K&N Engineering, which they do filtration, cold air intakes, oil filters, you name it. Great company. And by the way, and I haven't stressed this enough, if you want to see how a fantastic manufacturing plant, R&D, everything they do to get you the products that you need. If you want to see how that's all done, go to our YouTube channel. So just go to YouTube, go to the search bar, type in Drive Radio. We've got lots of videos that are on there now, so you're going to have to scroll down a little bit to where we've got all of our K&N interviews, but we've got tons of video and audio interviews that went with that, talking about how they design filters, cold air intakes, a tour of the plant, how the manufacturing process works, and just fantastic interview. Really, really worked out well. Those guys were totally accommodating, great hospitality, and it's just an indication of how K&N treats their customers. They just do a fantastic job. They have one of the, if not the best warranty in the entire automotive industry. If you've got any issues with it whatsoever, you call up, let them know what's going on, and they're going to step up and help you out. It's that simple. That's just how they do it. So you just can't ask for a better company than what K&N is, to the point that, I'll just give them a quick plug, if you're at a dealership and you've got a K&N filter on and they're telling you that it's somehow affected your warranty, they will step in and take care of that problem for you. Because by law, the dealer can't say that, and K&N will go to bat for you and make sure that everything gets taken care of properly, to the point of even if having to paying the bill to the dealership and then fighting afterwards just to get your car back into your hands. K&N will do that.
Yeah, not many will do that.
No, very, very few will do that. So fantastic company. Again, we have partnered with, we talked about this Thursday, but we've partnered with some folks that literally, you know, we put our stamp of approval on, and we use ourselves. You know, we wouldn't have these relationships if we didn't feel like they were people we could use ourselves, and then, of course, also send you to. So, again, use our sponsors. I say it a lot. If you like our show, use our sponsors, because they're the ones really that make this radio show happen on a weekly basis. And, of course, when you do that, let them know you heard about them on Drive Radio. That way they know what they're doing here benefits their business. So by all means, make sure you tell them you heard about them on Drive Radio, and we'd love to have you do that. So last but not least, and I told you guys this last week, going out to a supplier of ours, and I'm going to try to make these guys a radio partner too if we can, Universal Oils, who is a supplier to a lot of us in our Colorado Select Auto Care group. I know, Dorsey, you use them.
Yeah.
I use them in my fleet. Some of the other guys use them. Dennis doesn't quite yet, but we're gonna get him hooked on it here before long. Anyways, going out to their plant on Tuesday and Wednesday of this coming week to get a full bore tour. We'll do videos, do some interviews on how oil is made.
It's actually their refinery.
Exactly. Yeah, going out to the refinery. So literally watching it from crude to a final product and being able to tell you all about that, talk to some of the engineers, get really the brass tacks on what's the difference between regular oil, synthetic oil, They do all sorts of lab testing on used oil. They can, they'll give you a full report on where you're at with your particular oil and your engine. How far can you actually run it according to the oil analysis, things like that. So great company, and something that we've gotten into as a group here in probably the last year or so, Dorsey, roughly.
About a year, yeah.
And they're, by the way, you've not heard about them because they're not big on the retail market, but they're a very big wholesale distributor of oil.
Yeah, they were big fleet, commercial type stuff.
And been around, by the way, since 1922 or something, I want to say.
I think it was.
So very, very long time, old company, and we'll get Dennis even hooked on them because they and I've done some research, and most of you know I don't just take things, just because a salesman walks in and tells me I should buy a particular product. I do plenty of research to make sure that is in fact everything they say, and you know what? For them to back that up and say, John, you know what? Yeah, we believe in everything enough that we're gonna bring you out here, bring your camera, we're gonna show you around, show you how everything works, and we stand behind our product. So if you've got a question, we're gonna answer it face to face, you at the plant. That's pretty good. So not a lot of companies will do that. So and by the way, a lot of oil companies that are out there, or what you see on the shelf, they never touched the oil in the first place. It's all made by somebody else, packaged up and put on the shelf underneath somebody else's label.
Yeah. Right.
So, and I won't name names, but there's even some big guys out there that do that. So these guys make their own oil, take it from crude all the way to a finished product, and we'll talk about that next week. And by the way, we're going to be on remote too, so Dennis, talk about that for a second.
Yeah, we're going to be down in Castle Rock. Jeff Pelly, who owns the Napa stores in Parker, Castle Rock, and Elizabeth, he built a new store. His Castle Rock store has been there for years, but it's kind of got ousted because it's so small and stuff.
Right.
So he kind of just went a couple blocks away and built a bigger store, and you can see it from the highway.
And I've heard it's an extremely, extremely nice store.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. But he did that so he can increase his volume of parts for the customers out there. So, and he's a great guy. They do a great job out there. So
we'll have all of that on our Facebook this week, and I'll put it on the website also. We'll get final addresses, but it'll just be the Napa store in Castle Rock. Castle Rock's not that big a town, so you can find it.
You're driving on the highway, you see the big old sign at the store.
So if you want to come down and see us next week, if you're in the southern part of town especially, stop in. Of course, we'll have our giveaways. Jeff will have some specials through Napa. It'll be a great time. We'll have a lot of fun. Dennis is going to be out there, Ray Seidel from Four Seasons. We're going to drag a few other guys along with us, so by all means, come out and see us, say hi, stop in. We love being out in the community. So by all means, come by and talk to us, ask us questions, whatever it happens to be. If nothing else, just come by, shake hands.
Yep.
Say hi. We appreciate that very much. We got that last time we were up at Front Range here a few weeks ago.
That way there you could put a voice and a face together.
That's exactly. And we're doing some of that on YouTube, but it's really nice, especially if those of you that kind of call in on a regular basis and then stop by and say, hey, I can pretty much tell by the voice who you are when you walk up. So it's a lot of fun to do that. We really appreciate the fans that come out and say hi. And let's make this a great event for Jeff. I mean, again, this is a celebration for him in a new store and one of our partners in the Colorado Select Auto Care group, and we just want to come out and support Jeff as much as we can. So, Matt, real quick, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back. We'll talk to Paul. We'll get into some insurance stuff. Most of all, if you've got a question, and I'm sure you'll have some for Paul, give us a call, 303-477-5600. But anything you want to talk about. No stupid questions here on Drive Radio. If you've got a question, we've got the answer. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. I'm your host, John Rush, KLZ 560, The Source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
Right now at Napa, get your favorite flavor of Valvoline Conventional or Max Life Motor Oil for just $3.59 a quart. Buy 5 quarts, and you'll also get a $7 mail-in rebate. Yep, $7. Enough to get a plate of bacon with a side of bacon smothered in bacon. Now that's tasty. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 5/31/14.
Have you ever wished there was a place you could take your car, put it on a lift, and work on it yourself? My name is Craig Wallace, owner of DIY Auto Repair Shops. We have the lift, the tools, and the expertise. We offer a multi-tier program that allows you to do it yourself, technically assisted, or we can fix it for you. Check us out online at DIYAutoRepairShops.com or give us a call at 303-429-4000. Again, that's 303-429-4000. Let us know you heard about DIY on Drive Radio, and you'll receive 50% off your first DIY hour. We look forward to helping you succeed repairing and maintaining your car.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in northern Colorado? At Fort Collins 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From diesel pickups to economy cars, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to Fort Collins 4x4. Located just a few blocks north of Old Town on College Avenue in Hemlock, they're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at Fort Collins 4x4 are committed to providing the professional and personal service you're looking for. Give them a call at 970-482-5500. 970-482-5500. Check them out on the web at FortCollins4x4.com or follow them on Facebook at FortCollins4x4.com.
All right, we're back. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. And by the way, I should have mentioned this earlier. When you call in, you're not going to hear Larry today. Larry Unger, our fine producer who's here every single weekend and has been for a number of years now. The last, I think, 6-7 years he's done that every week. He has actually taken the day off. So we want to say thanks.
Mark that down.
Yeah, mark that down.
Black mark on Larry. Missed a day.
He missed a day off work. That's right. Doesn't happen very often, but Larry, I hope you're having a good time. He's actually at his granddaughter's graduation today, graduation party, and I hope he's having a great time. That's way more important than being here. And so when he asked if he could do that, it was like, of course you can, Larry. That's, you need to go do those things. So Paula's filling in. Dorsey's wife is filling in, Paula Johnson. So if you call in and hear her and not Larry, you'll know why. But again, give us a call. We'd love to have you on air, 303-477-5600. Let's take a quick phone call real fast before we get into our next topics. Bruno is up next. Bruno, welcome. What's going on today?
Yes, two questions. Well, the first one was answered. He is a broker. Second, does he also offer companies who offer the broad form, like for a guy who has several vehicles but can only drive one at a time?
Great question. Paul, go ahead.
No, I'm not a broker. I work for American National Insurance Company, so it's the only company we work for. But what we do, a lot of companies will, if you've got 5 or 6 cars and one driver, they'll rate you to each car. The way we do it is we just rate you to the one car, which makes all the other cars quite a bit cheaper. So it's similar, but it's not what you're talking about, but it's kind of our version of the broad form.
But you don't offer the broad form, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's my question so far.
Well, appreciate it, Bruno. Thank you very much. So I don't know anything about what you guys just talked about, and I'm sure everybody else listening doesn't either. So explain what that is and what you do that's different than what a broad form is, since I don't know what that is in the first place.
What a broad form is they give you liability coverage, and it covers all your cars, but it's only charged to one of the cars. So whichever car you decide to take out for the day is the car that's going to be covered. So if you've got 13, 14 cars, it's more like fleet insurance.
Okay.
But what a lot of the companies do is if you've got, 3 cars and one driver, they'll rate you to each of the cars, which drives that price up to where the way we do it is we just rate you to the one car, give the other car's driver 0, and then that makes the other cars quite a bit cheaper than the main car.
It's almost the same as broad form. Okay, so what's the advantage, disadvantage? So is there any disadvantage to a broad form?
No, they're both good coverage.
Because they're all still, so basically every car would still be covered if you're driving it. What if you're not driving it? Then it's got its own comprehensive collision, whatever you choose to do for each individual car. Is that how that would work on the broad form?
Correct.
Okay. I was not aware. Well, of course, I do all fleet stuff, so I haven't done the regular Joe insurance in eons. I don't think so.
No.
I'm too used to the other side of the fence. So the broad form is more like a fleet insurance where you're buying a general liability policy, insuring yourself comprehensive and collision when you hop in a car and drive it.
Correct.
And then each one of those cars, I assume, has its own rating depending upon what it is, of course, right?
Correct.
But some things you do differently. So, Bruno, I do know this. Some things that Paul does differently with his company, that not everybody else does is you can do some things differently, especially on classic cars or a car that you want to add more value to. You have the ability to cover that differently than most insurance companies do, correct?
Yeah, a lot of the companies out there will do stated value. So you call up, you buy a Mustang, you call them up and tell them you want to insure it for $25,000. They insure it for $25,000, but at the time of a loss, they'll underwrite it based on what they feel the value is at that particular time. To where we don't do it that way. We do agreed value. So if there's ever a loss, whatever it's insured for is what we pay out, no questions asked.
So if you feel like you just went out and bought a brand new Mustang, you're going to drive it 1,000 miles a year, it's going to hold its value very well, it isn't going to have some of the depreciation a typical guy driving a Mustang, 15,000 miles a year would, that person has the ability to put a higher value on the car, have it insured for that. Of course, he's going to pay for that, but he has the ability to at least do that, where in a lot of other insurance companies, it just is what it is, right?
Correct. But it's going to be much cheaper, though, because it goes into the classic car program, so it's not rated as a daily driver.
Got it.
And the other nice thing we do is we do the newer stuff, so new Corvettes, new Mustangs. A lot of the companies out there have cars got to be 25 years or older. With us, it just has to be a specialty car.
Okay, I didn't know that either. So you will insure under the quote-unquote classic car side of the fence any car and plug it into that classic car formula, if you would, even though it's not 25 years old.
Yeah, we call it modern classic. So even guys that have new trucks that soup them up, do lift kits, and then want to go out there and show them with custom paint, we'll do those as well. It just doesn't have to be a Mustang or Corvette.
So even a guy in my world, what we used to do, and John's 4x4, Ross, and those guys still do. Guy comes in with a Jeep Wrangler, puts, it wasn't uncommon for a guy to take a $35,000 Wrangler, go put another 20 grand into it with all these upgrades. You then could insure that for the 55 or whatever he feels the value is at that point. He's just paying the premium accordingly.
Yeah, as long as it's not going to be a daily driver where he's driving it to and from work every day.
Now, and maybe you know this answer, maybe you don't. Let's say that he's going to just take that thing up on the weekends and go four-wheeling and do things like that. Is there any stipulations with your policies as to what they can and can't do with the vehicle?
Yeah, like that particular situation, that's just going to fall under the daily driver, because those Jeeps that are going to be used for rock crawling and stuff like that, that's not going to be classic car insurance, because you're obviously more risk.
Right. So what is a guy, or is there any insurance for a guy in that category?
Yeah, you just insure it as a daily driver, but then you put the modified endorsement on there, so you put the lift kit, the winch. And
so you can still up the value to where he's getting his money back out of that. He's just paying a different rate than you would be on the classic side.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Okay, good information. So yeah, if any of you have any questions, Paul's got some information on that side of the fence, 303-477-5600. And I'll give Paul just a real quick plug, or let him do this. You, though, Paul, which we didn't talk about even with Bruno, your rates for everything we just got done talking about are going to be substantially less than some of your competitors, correct?
Yes.
Like to the tune of how much?
It just depends on what type of cars. I had a guy a couple months ago that had about a 2005 Ford GT. He was looking at paying about $3,000 a year at $250,000 in coverage because it's exotic.
Right.
We came in about $700 a year for the same coverage.
So that's a huge difference.
Huge.
$3,000 to $700. That's a big savings. So you also will do, and again, plug in Paul here, there really isn't, even as far as some of the older classic cars, some of the 32 Fords and Model A's and some of the hot rods and 57 Chevys, and so you don't have any limitation on any of that sort of stuff, do you?
No, there's no driving restrictions. That we can do rat rods, we can do modified cars. It doesn't matter what the horsepower is. We pretty much can insure anything and everything. No mileage restrictions. It's not limited miles a year. Drive the car anywhere you want, whenever you want. Okay. So go to the golf course, run to the grocery store, that kind of stuff. It's going to be covered. Where
car show, whatever, you're covered.
Yeah, it's not just to and from a car show.
Got it. So I also know this, and I don't know exactly how all this works, but I know that my uncle does some appraisals for you on certain cars. What's all of that about, and why do some cars need to be appraised and so on? Explain that.
So the way we do it is we'll insure anything up to $25,000 without an appraisal, and we'll go higher, but we just want a certified appraisal. That way we know what the value of the car is, and when your Uncle Bill Rush goes out and appraises the car at $60,000, that's what we insure it for.
Got it. So because you're looking at people that are experts, they know values, they know what stuff is buying and selling for, et cetera, and it gives you guys a real good indication as an insurance company that, yes, this is a true value. It's not just some number somebody pulled out of their hat to say, yeah, my my X is worth $100,000. Well, is it really? You may have $100,000 in it, but does that mean that's really what it's worth?
Well, a lot of guys find out that they feel their car's worth 30 or 40, and they find out it's worth 60 or 70.
Okay.
Or the other way around, they feel it's worth 60 or 70, and it's only worth 25.
Yeah, that happens too. Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. But to your point, though, I didn't think about that either. In some cases, they may think it's worth 25, but the reality is it may be worth much more because it's just been sitting around. They really haven't done their homework on what that car has done value-wise, and that happens. Most guys in that industry do keep up on values pretty well, but you know what? Sometimes that stuff can change in a year or less. In some cases, depending upon what's going on in the market, those values can change in 6 months. So it's a good idea to also keep up to date on what's going on in your particular end of the world with your vehicle, correct?
Yeah, I know a couple of years ago the Ford GTs were going for 150, 175, and now they're 250, 300 just in the span of 2 years.
Great example. So that's now in that case, does that car need reappraised to get it back up to the 250, or how do you guys do that?
Yeah, anytime you feel like the values change, you can go and get it reappraised. We don't ask for appraisals every 3 years or every 4 years. We just leave it up to you to determine if you've done modifications and you feel you've increased the value, then you can go out and get it reappraised.
Okay, we're going to take another call on this, but real quick, let people know how they can get a hold of you, because I know some of these folks are going to be going after the show saying, okay, I got to call Paul. How do I actually get a hold of you?
You can go to my website. It's chromeinsurance.com, or I'll give you my cell phone number. My office number is 303-662-0789, and my cell phone number is 303-619-9891.
And please, again, I want to reemphasize this, because Paul's taken a step in faith that we're going to help him, build his business and help our listeners. So when you call Paul, please make sure you tell him, hey, Paul, heard you on Drive Radio. I want you to do X, X, and X. Give him an idea of where you're coming from that way so that he understands and can sort of track what we can actually do for him, because I'm confident that we're gonna help not only you guys as listeners in saving money, having better insurance, but also help Paul at the same time because he's got a great product. So let's go to Jim, who's up next. Jim up in Boulder, welcome. What's going on today?
I got an 88 Supra Turbo.
Okay.
Is that considered a classic? How old is it? It's, I think, 26 years old.
Well, Paul, go ahead. You can answer that because it could go either way, right?
Yeah, no, that falls in the classic because it's older than 25, but even if let's say it would have been a 98, that still would qualify.
But what I want to know is this. I also want to qualify for the extended registration, which I think a classic has.
Which you can't do unless it's been registered as a classic already. You have to be 75 or older to be considered a classic car plate, licensed plate in Colorado.
I have to be 75 or the car.
Say that again, Jim.
The car.
Yeah, the car has to be a 1975 or older, unless you were somebody that had it registered prior to the law change a few years ago that made this distinction. If you had it grandfathered in and have classic plates on, say, an 82 Camaro because you happen to have that designation beforehand, as long as you keep the classic plates on it, it's considered classic. But if you have regular green plates on an 88 Supra and it hasn't been grandfathered in, it has to be a 75 to be considered a classic car in regards to licensing it in the state of Colorado.
Thank you very much.
All right, Jim, thanks for the phone call. Great questions, by the way, from two callers, and I know some of you have more questions on insurance. Also, I'll let you know, Paul can answer questions not just on the car side of the fence, because with American National, you can do home and auto and whatever else needs done for a listener, correct?
Yeah, we do motorcycles, jet skis, motorhomes, ATVs, snowmobiles. There's nothing we don't do. The nice thing with all the storms going around, if you've got everything insured with us, like I had a client out in Green Valley where storm hit his motorhome, his car, and his house, it counts as one claim, one deductible, where most companies will itemize it out and give you a deductible per item. We don't do it that way.
Got it. Hold that thought. I want to talk more about that with these storms we've just had. So call us. We'd love to hear from you. 303-477-5600. Lines are open, by the way. I should have said that earlier. So if you've got a call or a question, call us. We'll get you right on air. But we're going to come back, continue to talk to Paul, Dennis, and Dorsey. So we want to talk to you also. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. And this is John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source. Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
K&N's premium oil filters are very different. They make oil changes easier. K&N's wrench-off oil filters have a 1-inch nut welded on the top, so you can easily change the filter with a wrench or ratchet. And used with a Ziploc freezer bag, you can even remove a K&N oil filter with no oil spillage at all. Another great product from K&N, an American manufacturer since 1969.
Are you driving with a check engine light on? Has that light been going on and off? Arvada West Auto and Truck is here to help you understand what could be wrong. Our technicians are specially trained to handle warning lights. If your vehicle is a 1996 or newer, it stores a history that helps us diagnose the problem, even if the warning light is not currently on. Don't wait until your vehicle breaks down and leaves you stranded. Call 303-422-1065. Stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com, where every question is important.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
All right, and we're back. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Line open, 303-477-5600 is our number. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Paul is talking about some great things through the break that we're going to continue to cover, and we'll try to get as many of these topics in. But if we don't get everything covered today, never fear. Paul's going to be back with us. This won't be his last visit with us, so we're going to keep him coming back on as a regular guest to help us with some of these questions. Somebody sent an email in to me a minute ago and asked, how can I see you on YouTube? Okay, here's how you do it. So if you're listening, go to youtube.com. Just type it in, get YouTube up in your browser. And in the YouTube browser, there's a little search bar, typically at the top. Just type in Drive Radio, all one word, in your YouTube browser at the very top, and you'll find us. It's pretty simple. And you'll see us, and today's event is live streaming right now. You can go right there, click on it, watch us. We'll wave and say hi. And we do have faces for radio, so we'll warn you. So fair warning. But you'll see us. You can see us in the studio, what we do, kind of even between commercials, etc. We're going to try to do more things with YouTube. So, yeah, if you've got the ability to watch us on air, or live on YouTube on air, we'd love to have you do that. So again, go to YouTube, type in the search bar, Drive Radio, and you'll find us. It's not hard to do. It's very simple. In fact, I've done it myself just to check things out. I'll do it as we speak. So if you go right to YouTube, it's going to pop up. There's a little bar right at the very top of the page. Just type in Drive Radio, all one word, and our first thing is going to be up there, our channel. Just click on the little Drive Radio, link if you would, and then you'll just see everything, and you'll say live now is our first streaming event. It pops right up. Just click on it. You'll see us. Piece of cake. So it's that simple.
You didn't tell us, did he, Dorsey? Did you know? I'd have dressed up.
Say, hey guys.
Yeah. Hey, I'd have dressed up and done my hair or something.
Yeah, you could have shaved.
I could have shaved and wore a nice shirt.
All right, so we're going to take a quick call. We're going to come back. Paul's got a couple of great topics that I want to cover on the insurance side of the fence, especially for some of you with some of the classic cars. But let's take Phil and Cheyenne next before we do anything else. Phil, welcome. What's going on today?
I've got an 07 Chrysler Town & Country, and I recently have been putting on a lot of miles. For instance, I had my oil changed 5 days ago, and I've got about 2,300 on it. I'm running a 530 mobile high mileage oil,
okay,
and trying to change it between 4,500 and 5,000 miles. And I was wondering if I could extend that putting on that kind of mileage.
You might be able to.
I'm running about 6,000 a month.
You might be able to, and here's my suggestion to you. I wouldn't do that until you get an oil analysis.
Right.
So what I'd want to do is at the 5,000 mark, take an analysis, send it in, and by the way, the analysis are easy. They can be done down through the dipstick where you're not even having to take any oil out of the actual pan itself. It's an easy thing to do. That's something, again, we can do through Universal Oils. A lot of us that are in the group that are using Universal can actually do that, send it in for you. It's an easy thing to get back. They get us a report back in about 48 to 72 hours, and then we can tell you from there, yep, hey, Phil, things are looking great, keep driving, or hey, we probably ought to be changing oil at X mileage, and that's the really only way for somebody like you with an older vehicle to know specifically when to change it on those longer interval changes.
Right. I've only got 107 on it right now, but
my gut feeling is you're going to be able to go to 7,000 or 8,000 miles pretty easily, but you may find with high mile synthetic you might go further given it's all highway miles that you're doing, but I wouldn't do that without an analysis.
Okay.
Okay, and again, they're not hard to do. We can do it right through Universal Oil. And again, if you want to, send me an email. I can find somebody near you that's using their product that can get that analysis done, and they can give you a report back in just a few days.
The most important thing to do, Phil, if you're doing that, is to use a really good oil filter. Just a really, really good oil filter.
High-quality filter.
Yep.
Okay. What's the approximate cost on having that oil analysis done?
Most of us can get it done through Universal for free.
Yeah.
So if you again, send me an email, I'll get you somebody close to you using their product, and we can get that sent in and check back for you real easily that way.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate it, Phil. And it's john@drive-radio.com. Send me an email, and I'll figure out who's close to you. Some of you that want to go to a long interval like that, let's do some oil analysis to make sure you're safe, and we can get that done for you relatively easily. Worst comes to worst, we'll just have you pop by, we'll get a sample, send it in,
Some
and
of
off you go.
those we're doing Napa's new platinum filter with the cellulose wire cage construction into it because they're certified for 15,000.
And to Dennis's point, I would not do a long life oil change or a long interval oil change without a platinum filter. Period. That's just, I would not do it. Period. So, all right, Paul. We talked through the break about, got to talking more about the broad form, which we won't get into because that's got a lot of its own idiosyncrasies that we could cover even on another day's show. But one thing you brought up through the break that I thought was interesting is not all even old classic car policies and people that specialize in that. There's some idiosyncrasies with what you guys do versus what they do. Explain some of that, especially when it comes to who can drive the car.
One of the things that we do is a lot of the companies out there, you got to be 25 years or older to be able to drive the car. To where you just have to be licensed drivers. So 16-year-old kids can qualify for the classic car program too. So if you've got a guy that sends a gearhead and he's working on a truck, he can go ahead and get that classic car insurance and have coverage to where most companies, if you're not 25 years or older, you're not covered on that car. And then a lot of the other companies out there, you have to be listed on that policy to be able to drive. So if you've got a couple cars and you want your brother to drive the car and he's not listed on your policy, he won't be covered according to that company's guidelines.
Got it. Makes sense. So another reason why we've teamed up with Paul is he just, at the end of the day, and I know this just from personal experience and family members, et cetera, that have classic cars, et cetera. Paul's policies, just work a lot better than some of the competition. Again, that's partly why we've teamed up with him, and partly why this is a situation where I approached Paul. Paul was been around my place and a friend for a very long time, and my uncles and father, et cetera, they've all used Paul for a number of years when it comes to insuring their classic cars and homes, et cetera. So, there's a kind of a tie there to begin with, and I just thought Paul would be a great fit for us, especially when some of you out there are driving, and a lot of you, by the way, out there are driving more than one car in your family. Most of our listeners own more than one car. In fact, they've got various cars. Some have classics, et cetera. And I just figured Paul would be a really great fit with our listeners, which, as you're hearing, turns out it is. Before we, kind of get into some of what's happened with our recent storms, we gave some tips. Dennis and I did this last week on how to avoid some of those things. We'll talk about some of that, too, as we go through the show. But anything, Paul, right now that you can think of that somebody should at least check on their current policy when it comes to their coverage, the storms that are going on, et cetera. And I mean, I know we could probably talk for the next 2.5 hours, but some real quick points on what things they should be checking, knowing we're going through some of the storms we're going through right now.
Probably the biggest thing I see that people have is they'll have a separate wind and hail deductible, and they don't realize what that number represents. They could have a 1%, a 2%, and they think that's going to be 1 or 2% of what the claim value is. But you got to go on your policy and look at that coverage A. It's going to be your dwelling. That's what your house is insured for, and that percentage is going to be based off of what the dwelling is. So if you're at a 1% deductible for wind and hail, which a lot of companies are now, and your house is insured for $400,000, you've got $1,000. You'd have a $4,000 deductible because it's 1% of whatever your coverage A amount is. And most people don't understand how that coverage works.
Okay, so that's the first thing to check. Now, how do they check that? That's the next question.
It's going to be under the deductible. However your policy is laid out, you'll have a deductible, and it may say, 1% wind and hail, $1,000 for all other peril, which means you'd have a $1,000 deductible for fire, lightning, vandalism, broken pipes.
And is that typically on the front page of your policy, or is it buried down internally? How is there some sort of a common form that by law an insurance policy has to come with, or how does that part of it work?
It's usually on that front page of your deck page that shows coverage A, B, C, D, and E, and they'll show what your deductible is, maybe on the right top side, bottom side, but it's usually right there with all your other coverages and all your other endorsements.
So they shouldn't have to go digging around and looking and all that kind of stuff.
But, I mean, most of us don't know what to look for.
I know.
And
what I'm trying to get at, and as you guys can tell, I'm kind of leading Paul along, but most people, I don't know if they ever even open up the policy and read what you just said.
Well, you sit down and you'll go over it with your agent right then and there, but then when he leaves or he or she leaves, you kind of...
Or when you renew it and it's been 5 years since you've ever looked at it.
Why am I paying that?
You're never looking at it again.
Yeah, you're like, what am I doing? What is that? I don't understand.
So one thing I highly recommend, and I do this on my own personal side of the fence, part of it's because I have a business and you kind of are forced to, but I just learned my lessons through the years about some of that. You should look at your policy every single year without fail, right, Paul?
Oh, absolutely. And at least try to get a review every 2 or 3 years because things change. Maybe you finished the basement, you added a deck. You've upgraded the bathrooms, done some things that have increased the value of your home, and
you've got more personal items, etc.
I do it with the business, and as he's sitting here talking, I'm not doing it at home, but because I do it at the business.
Right.
You go home and you go, I don't want to deal with this.
Right.
I've already
you've done all that, so you don't want to do it again.
Right, and I do every year. We do this in our business.
Right.
Every year, don't you get I have 3 or 4 people call and do comparisons and try to get my business and stuff.
So I review it every year.
Every year, and you know what? It's time consuming.
It is.
And it's
well, it's time consuming, but
you have to do it.
Going back to why we have this partnership with Paul, if you've got somebody that you trust, what Paul's going to do, and I'm speaking for him, but I know this. What he's going to do is he's going to watch all this stuff, and he's going to he's going to pick up the phone ever so often and say, "Hey, Joe, guess what? I noticed some things have changed recently with X, and you know what? We probably should sit down and review a few things." Or, "Hey, you called me the other day, and we added 2 more cars onto the policy. Is there anything else going on, house-wise, et cetera, that's changed that we need to cover?" That's what happens when you get personal service versus going online to Esurance. I'm sorry, I'm going to just point fingers, but that's the difference between somebody like Paul versus an online company, right?
Right. Well, and a lot of times you see the online companies, they just don't. People are buying buying based on price. They don't realize what their coverages are, and you start looking at it, and they're running state minimums, high deductibles, and they're explaining themselves as self-insured, but there's a huge gap in coverage there.
When you mentioned, and I don't want to break you, but
you're fine.
But when you mentioned earlier that sometimes we don't get enough coverage, or we don't look at it and stuff. We had a neighborhood that a house that caught on fire, got hit by lightning about 20 years ago, about 15 years ago. And their house burned to the ground, and their insurance wasn't correct. They said they didn't have enough insurance to do the house again, and the company stepped up and took care of it. But that's one where like you say, when you do add-ons, they had built on, and they didn't insure the part that they built on, and that's what when you're starting to say that. How many people out there are doing home improvements, and no matter how big of an improvement do you tell?
Well,
your insurance.
And I will say, let's take a quick break. We come back. I'm gonna lead into the next segment by saying this. Most everybody out there is underinsured. We'll talk about that and how you can make sure you're not underinsured in just a second. Stay with us. We'll be right back. KLZ 560, The Source.
Do you have the need?
the need for speed?
If so, Extreme Auto Repair is the place for you. Extreme Auto Repair specializes in vehicle restoration and performance enhancements that'll get you where you need to go with speed and style. With their knowledgeable staff and professional service, they can answer any questions you have to get your vehicle running the way you've always dreamed it could. Extreme Auto Repair in Parker. Give your vehicle the attention it deserves. Mention this ad to receive $25 off any service or repair at Extreme Auto Repair in Parker.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
Ah, summer. A time of fun, sun, high temperatures, and the ultimate family road trip. Before embarking on the ultimate family adventure, bring your vehicle over to John's 4x4 Center on Arapahoe and Boulder for a little TLC. Our summer maintenance inspection includes pressure testing your air conditioning system, checking your coolant levels and tire pressure, testing your battery, inspecting your hoses and belts for cracks, cuts, and bulges, testing your transmission, power steering, and brake fluids. Having your vehicle inspected before a long road trip can keep you on the road, not stuck beside it during your vacation. John's 4x4 is under new ownership as of January 2014. Stop by and see what's new. Located on Arapahoe Road just east of 63rd behind Carpet 1, we are open to serve you Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. with shuttle service and after-hours drop. Give us a call at 303-449-2640. Follow us on Facebook or check us out at johns4x4.com.
Grab a Napa bucket for $2.99, and everything you fit in it is 20% off. What can you fit in the bucket? A radiator? No. 10 oil filters and 756 pine tree air fresheners? With some elbow grease, maybe. Get your Napa bucket today and save 20% off everything you pack in it. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. Some exclusions apply at participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 5/31/14.
24 seconds. I timed it. It took me just 24 seconds to find a AAA certified master mechanic who offers the best peace of mind warranty in the state. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. At coloradoselect.org, I search my city and boom, I'm done. Colorado Select Auto Care puts their member shops through a rigorous set of requirements, so I know no matter which shop I choose, I'll get the best auto repair service possible. That's 24 seconds well spent. coloradoselect.org.
All right, thanks for listening to us. A couple lines open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. I was going to talk about people being underinsured. We still will. Don't worry. We're going to get to that. But we've got a call, and as always, you guys take precedence. If you keep calling, we keep answering questions. That's the way this show works, 303-477-5600. Patrick is up next. Patrick, welcome. What's going on today?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I had an insurance question. I've got full coverage on a Ford Crown Vic, liability on a Toyota, and full coverage on my Harley. Now, I've got over and under and med pay and that, and it carries over onto the Harley. Kind of hard to find that. Does your insurance do that?
Yeah, you've got that uninsured. Are you talking about the uninsured motorist?
Right, uninsured, underinsured, and all that. And then, of course, I've got med pay and all that, and it carries over in case I'm on the bike and God forbid something happens.
Correct. Yeah, it does carry over onto the motorcycle coverage.
With your insurance? Oh, great.
Yep.
And you mentioned too. I'm driving a truck, but you mentioned house insurance and car insurance and that. If a car and a bike sitting outside and you didn't realize it, and you had a big hailstorm. Your roof gets damaged and the car and the bike gets damaged, it's only one deductible?
Correct. Yeah, if it's the same cause of loss, what you're talking about, yeah, you'd pay the deductible on the house and then the bike and the car deductible would be waived.
And I'm going to throw one thing else out there, Patrick, which Paul hasn't, he's been bashful and hasn't said this. They also have a plan or a program that's built into their policies where if you don't have a claim, what happens, Paul?
If you go 3 years without making a claim, from the third year and every year after that, you get 25% of all your premiums back on the home and auto. And that's every
Oh,
year
wow.
from the third
God,
year.
I wish I'd have known that. I've been with this lane company for quite some time.
So there you go. So yeah, so if you go with Paul, don't have a claim, or let's say you had a claim that you decide, you know what, it's not enough to turn in, I'm going to go ahead and take care of that myself. Well, you know what, if you keep doing that long enough, you end up getting 25% of your, so you kind of end up being a little bit self-insured, if you would, because you get 25% of that policy back, which would then take care of some of those piddly things that you probably shouldn't turn in anyways.
Right. No, that sounds good. I got the office number, and I'll give a call and leave a message. Like
Sounds great, Patrick. We appreciate that. Thank you very much, and be safe out there on the road. So, yeah, I wanted to plug that for Paul because he's being bashful, but I knew that was the case. So, yeah, that's a big deal because there's a lot of us out there, especially when it comes to, you know, business is different, but home auto, et cetera, and some of us even have those policies separate from, well, home you have to have separate from your business, but you may even take one car and throw it on your homeowners, you know, just to kind of keep things, you know, unified that way. And, yeah, to Paul's point, if you go with him and you do that, you end up with this rebate after a few years, and it's a great thing.
Yeah, and I can see that rebate. I can see where people do a lot more preventive maintenance and do a little bit more work to make sure that their house goes further, just like a car.
It's an incentive, and I asked Paul. I said, well, you know, how can you do that, Paul? What's the difference between, you know, your insurance company and somebody else's? And I'll answer this for Paul. I'm not going to put him on the spot. I'll take the words out of his mouth and do it for you instead. I'm good at that anyways, but I'll do this in this case. Yeah, I am. Really? Yeah.
We already knew that.
Paul wants to be very, very politically correct when he says this, but the reason why his company can do this versus a lot of other companies is they're not an online company just looking to insure every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's out on the road. Their clients, so American National's clients, are typically clients like all of you that are listening to our show. You're going to make sure you take care of some of those small things on your own. You're not going to turn in every little claim. You're a safer driver, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't want to get into all of the gory details that separates, you know, their customers from somebody else. But when you have better customers as a company, you pay out less in claims, which means there's more money to go around to give back in that 25% rebate after 3 years. Did I say that right, Paul?
Correct, and better rates.
And better rates. So, yeah, so that's how all of that works. So, again, I thought Paul would be a fantastic fit for you all as listeners because I know you. I know some of you. I meet you at our remotes. I know who you are. I can hear from your voices what you do and how you value things, et cetera. And that's why Paul's a great team member, if you would, for us, and we'll end up being a great partner. So let's keep talking. We've got some more calls coming in. One line open, 303-477-5600. Francis is next. Francis, welcome.
Yeah, I got a 05 Chevy Malibu. It's a 2.24 cylinder engine. It's a classic now. And the one thing I noticed is on the control here for the air conditioner and, you know, all the other, that air conditioner light will start to blink when you turn it up to 5 all the way on now. It just started doing that, and then it won't stay on. And I turn it down a notch, and then it'll blink, and then maybe it'll stay on, and then you have to turn it down lower. And the thing I'm wondering is now I noticed they have some from like 99 up. They have the same control hit on that. What do you think is causing that? Is that a weak button or weak part into that electronic circuit board on that control hit on that car?
Yours was an 05.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it climate control or is it a manual system?
It's manual.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't have a module in there, you wouldn't be able to scan it. But odds are, if it's doing it when you turn the blower motor up, it's probably got an overamp draw on it somewhere.
Okay. Now what I did is I replaced it with one. I went to a junkyard and I noticed this one was a 99 in there, and it's never had to be replaced neither. And it's working just fine, but I'm afraid it might start to act up and then blink again. So another thing is, though, I noticed is like, okay, you know, there's a button for AC. It has a little green light or blue light.
Right.
And then there's a recirculating button where then it'll recirculate. And I noticed when I push my recirculating button all by itself and the AC button is off, completely off, no light is off, that the recirculating button, when I push that on and it switches over and lights up, I can feel the engine and the thing compressor, and it'll start getting blown cold air. It's just if you have so you don't have to have the AC button on neither. Now, for just the recirculating button. When I push it on, it will make the air conditioner, compressor, everything air conditioning. It's just like as if the AC button was.
Shouldn't do that. The recirculating should just recirculate air, have nothing to do with the AC.
But it will if you have the air on and you turn it to max. It might turn the air, recirculate on, but it shouldn't go the other way.
No.
Well, we don't really have a max. We just got an AC button and a recirculating button. And you got to turn the knob to 5. And I noticed that was strange. I said, gee, maybe this thing has a fail-safe or something, like some kind of fail-safe thermostat. Well, anyway, it had a...
Is this Francis, your daily driver, or is it a project-type car?
I just got it from Mother's Day for a student graduating, going to college. The thing's in mint condition, simply. But the only thing that's wrong is that after I got it, this AC thing started blinking on the light, and it wouldn't. And when it blinks off, you couldn't turn up to 5 all the way. And you're saying it's something about an amperage thing. What should I have to do on that then to fix it?
I tell you what, and we're getting up against a break. I'm going to put you on hold real quick, and I'm going to have Paula get you Dorsey's number. You can call him direct during the week because we're going to spend more time on this than I've got right now, Francis. So hang on real tight. I got you on hold. Paula, take line 2 and talk to Francis and give him Dorsey's number. Let's go to John, who is next. John, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, after listening to you guys for a little while, I decided my next oil change is going to go to Mobil 1 on all my cars.
Great.
So I had a couple questions about that.
Sure.
As far as viscosity, what do I use?
What are you driving?
I have an 05 Saturn Vue and an 08 Saturn Aura.
You need to check your owner's manual, but I'm guessing that's going to be either 530 or 1030.
530.
And it's probably 530. But check the owner's manual. Use exactly what the engine specifies, and it'll be in the owner's manual. Right towards the back of it, it'll tell you exactly what oil to put in it weight-wise.
Okay, so I don't have to change the weight per...
No, use exactly the same weight the car calls for.
But use a better filter.
Right, I heard you guys talk about, was it the Napa Gold?
Use a platinum filter, Napa Platinum.
Okay. All right, great. I'll do that. Is there anything else I need to know about that?
No, you do that, you'll be in great shape. It said on my screen, you have a valve cover leak too, or is it just the oil question?
I got a valve cover leak question on another car too.
Well, go ahead. What is it?
So on a 91 Toyota Previa minivan with a 4-cylinder kind of sideways engine, the valve cover eternally leaks.
Okay.
And it's got a rubber factory gasket on there, and it says to put it on dry, but it never seals. So wonder if you had any thoughts.
Does it leak oil down into the spark plug holes?
Nope, that part's okay. It's got the little O-rings there. That's okay.
Yeah.
It drips oil down at the bottom of the valve cover gasket, via gravity, and it goes right down on top of the muffler, and it's just a mess.
Yeah. Those, if you're using a Felpro gasket, a premium gasket.
Yeah, I actually got the Toyota gasket, which is
that's fine.
Yeah, kind of a rubber gasket.
Yeah, that's fine. You might.
But should I put something on it? Can I put some kind of
No.
If anything, you want to just put a little oil on it to make sure that it's getting a good seal. But that's the only thing you'd really need to do.
That has the hump where it goes over the cam, doesn't it?
That is correct.
Yeah, right in the corner where it goes over the cam and bends, we put a little dab of what we call ultra gray sealer in there.
Right.
Just in that corner.
Just in those valleys.
Those corners.
Right. Okay, then that's the gray, like RTV kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Permatex.
But everywhere else, don't put any sealer anywhere else.
Yeah.
Nope.
Just get it good and clean. Clean it with some brake cleaner or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the biggest thing, John. I'm gonna drop you off for getting up against the news. So guys, stay with us. We're gonna go to the news. But yeah, anytime you're doing gasket changes, etc., you got to make sure everything is extremely clean. And at home, one trick you can also use for that is some acetone. So if you don't have brake clean and things like that around, put some acetone on a rag, clean everything off. It's got a high flash point, so it dries really fast, gets everything nice and clean. Then you can put your gasket material and everything else back on. But with that, we're going to go to the news. We're going to come right back. We got more stuff coming up with insurance questions, answers. We're going to talk about some tips for driving into the summer months here if we get to it. If not, we'll cover that in the weeks ahead. But stay with us. Don't go away. News is up next. I'm John Rush, your host. We'll be back right after the news. Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
You still haven't had enough of Gearheads? Go to gearheadradio.com.
Email your questions and comments, download podcasts of previous shows, and find lots of other useful information. It's gearheadradio.com. Thanks for listening to KLZ AM 560, The Source.
Drive Radio is the presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business. So Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
It's just this constant spinning out of these different topics of conversation to take us off our message, to keep us from pointing our finger back at the Obama administration, back at Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State, now John Kerry, even more feckless than Hillary Clinton was. It's to keep us off our game. The American people need to be focused on the leadership that they have now and why it is coming apart at the seams.
Wake up with Randy Corcoran, mornings at 5 on KLZ 560, The Source.
This is the legendary KLZ, AM 560, KLZ HD Denver, and online streaming at 560thesource.com. Since 1922. KLZ Denver.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Brad James. Frustration and people want answers, holding somebody accountable for the VA scandal. Many are calling for VA Secretary Eric Shinseki to step down, and many are unhappy with the way the president's handling the scandal. Florida Republican Congressman Jeff Miller with some advice for the president.
The president should have come out and immediately said, I am going to allow any veteran that is on a waiting list to receive the medical care that they have earned to go outside of the VA network and get it on the private market.
Miller speaking on Fox News. VA Secretary Eric Shinseki promising to do better and to investigate every allegation brought to the department's attention. Memorial Day weekend with services planned throughout the weekend all over the country. You can take part in the National Moment of Remembrance at 3 p.m. on Memorial Day. Wherever you are, stop and give a minute of your time for awareness or prayer. This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to the Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or, if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
The Blaze Radio News on KLZ 560 The Source.
Wake up with Randy Corcoran, Monday morning at 5 on legendary KLZ 560, The Source.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
Watch this.
Because Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing would be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, it is hour 2 of Drive Radio. I'm your host, John Rush, along with Dorsey Johnson, going from my left to my right now, those of you on YouTube. So Dorsey Johnson, Dennis Brewster, and Paul Leuenberger. And Paul's our resident insurance expert, and we've been talking insurance through the first hour. We're going to keep talking about it. And some of the folks have just continued to call in and ask, Paul, who are you with again? How do they get a hold of you? So give all that information out one more time.
It's American National Property and Casualty. The way I market it, it's Chrome Insurance. That's for the car guys. It stands for Classic, Hot Rod, Replica, Original, Modified, and Exotic. My office phone number is 303-662-0789. My cell phone is 303-619-9891. My website's chromeinsurance.com. You can also go to anpac.com, A as in Apple and as in Nancy, PAC.com for our home office's website.
Awesome. So that's how you get a hold of Paul. You can call us and call him and ask questions. 303-477-5600 is our phone number. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. We'd love to hear from you. We've got a couple lines open, so call us. We'll get you right on air. Again, 303-477-5600. Paul, we talked through the break that I wanted to make sure we were clear on this. There are a couple of things I want to get to, and so many things to talk about. We may get to all of them. We may not. If not, we're going to have Paul back. But we talked earlier about folks being underinsured. But before we talk about that, project cars, since we were kind of talking during the first hour about some of those things, and we had a couple of callers that called in with some classic cars. Explain that. So you've got a project car, you're working on it. That needs its own insurance, correct?
Correct. Yeah, a lot of the guys think that their homeowners is going to cover the project car or the body shop that it's at. They've got a garage keeper's liability that's going to cover it. The homeowners doesn't cover it. So I tell a lot of guys that you've got a 32 Ford that you're restoring. You've got $25,000 into it. You're talking $2-3 a month is going to cover that car while you're restoring it. Goes to your buddy's garage where he works on the upholstery out of his house. He may not have any type of coverage. Something happens over there, it's covered. Then it goes to paint. Then it goes to body. It's going to be covered no matter where it's at.
So the minute you buy that car, you should have some kind of insurance on it, unless you don't care about losing it.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
So, and that's true with anything, by the way, folks. If you can afford to lose it and not have to worry about replacing it, don't insure it. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you can do that. You don't have to have insurance other than driving a car on our roads today. Yes, by law, you have to have insurance. And by the way, we'll get into this in just a second, the state minimums are not enough in most cases. So you can buy the insurance, just enough of a minimum to get you taken care of. But, for example, $5,000 of uninsured motorist isn't near enough, is it?
Yeah, the state minimums, the state requirements are
$25,000.
So you're talking that's not enough coverage at all, and $15,000 for property damage. Somebody hits you and you've got a Mercedes and they've got the state minimums, you're going to go back to your own insurance company for that claim.
Yeah. And one thing you just mentioned, people take their car to someone that doesn't have insurance and have them work on it. That's just a scary thing when I hear people say that, but they do it all the time.
They do.
And it's just because if that building burns down, your car's included in that, you're done.
Unless you're covered well enough on your own, it is.
On your own, but if I'm taking my stuff to a business, I don't want.
You expect it to be insured.
Even if I have insurance, I want them to be able to take care of it.
That's exactly right. So those are things to check. Very good point. All right, I've got a couple of questions real quick. Let's go to Kevin, who's got a non-insurance question. Jeff's got an insurance question. Kevin, what's going on? We'll talk to you first.
Yes, I have an 86 Thunderbird,
okay.
It's a 2.3. My problem is I understand with the EC4 electronic system, there's an open and closed loop. When it's cold, I don't know if the gas comes out of the injectors or a special idle circuit, but what I got is if you accidentally get in the boost a little too soon before it warms up past quarter high, it just feels like it takes all the gas or not enough gas, and it stumbles for about a minute, and then it corrects itself. And I don't know if that's something I'm missing that's not working right, or if that's a normal thing back then.
No, it's not. It's not working right, and it could be any number of items, from coolant temp sensors, which would be something simple, to you name it. In other words, if it's not sensing the right temperatures through that cold up phase, through the startup phase, through the warm up phase, what I'm trying to say, all the mapping is out of whack, and it's not going to run properly. That's something that somebody that understands the system needs to do some drivability diagnosis on it.
Okay, thank you much.
You're very welcome. Appreciate the phone call. And yeah, those were not. They're not that tough, but they weren't simple either in 86.
OBD ones, you're going to do more pinpoint testing than just looking at data. So
right, to figure out what's going on, but no, that one shouldn't be that difficult to fix. Jeff's got some insurance questions. By the way, line open, 303-477-5600. 5600. I'll slow down and say that again. 303-477-5600. Jeff, what's going on?
I got a pair of 2000 jet skis that I wanted to insure, but I only use them for about a half a dozen times during the season, and I'm looking for an economical way of doing that.
Any ideas, Paul?
No, yeah, you can do them with us. Those usually run, depending on the value of them, anywhere from, $8 to $15 a month. They base it on, it's a year policy, but they base it on seasonal use, and the jet skis are really cheap to insure. And if you if you want to go to liability only, you're probably talking $60, $70 a year.
Okay, is that for both of them or a piece?
A piece, but then you get a multi-boat discount / jet ski discount, so you're probably looking at, $12, $13 a month for both.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to give you a call during the week then.
All right, sounds great. Appreciate it, Jeff. So yeah, give Paul a call, and again, Paul's number is
303-619-9891.
So 303-619-9891. And by the way, we'll link all of this stuff on our website. In fact, I believe it's already there. I need to get a little bit better on my get Paul to get me some logos, etc. But the basic information, I believe, is there. If not, it will be this week. So we'll get all that geared up, and that way you've got the ability to go to drive-radio.com, plug in, just go to the sponsor page, click on that, and we'll also get him on the Colorado Select side of the fence also, so you'll see him there. But yeah, real easy to get a hold of Paul. He'll help you out. Again, our number, 303-477-5600. Okay, we've got a break in the action for just a minute. Let's talk about whether or not you're overinsured, because in most cases, most people aren't. In fact, I'll be the first to say that unless you have just gobs and gobs and gobs of insurance, it's rare for somebody to be overinsured. Correct, Paul? Typically, it's the other way around.
Yeah, I've never seen somebody overinsured. I don't think it's even possible. I mean, you could carry way too much coverage, but then you just never know what that situation is going to bring about. Driving down the road, you rear end somebody, they're in the hospital for 6 months, time away from work, physical therapy, $1 million lawsuit. You can never have too much.
No, and one thing I did want to talk about, we've talked about this in the past, but it's been years and years ago. For the majority of our listeners, and let me make sure I'm saying this correctly. So I know our listeners, I know our audience, I know the type of people that are hearing us right now on air. If you don't have an umbrella policy, I'm helping Paul out here on the sales side of the fence, but if you do not have an umbrella policy, even if you don't have a company and you're just talking about your house, some cars, some jet skis, whatever it happens to be, if you don't have an umbrella policy for at least $1 million, you're selling yourself short. It's cheap insurance, and it can save you a ton of headache down the road, right, Paul?
Yeah, the umbrella, what it does is it gives you that $1 million of liability protection on your home and your auto and anything else you have insured. Somebody slips and falls on your property, you get in a car today and you get in a car accident and you've got, $250,000, $500,000, and there's a lawsuit for $251,000. That umbrella picks up right where your other coverages leave off. $1 million umbrella policy for 2 cars and a home, you're running $152,000 a year, and you can't. That's cheap.
And I can go into details for the next literally hour and a half or longer about circumstances where an umbrella policy would come in handy. Everything from you're dog biting somebody and there being a major issue there, to a slip and fall on your property, to a car accident, to you name it. Anything that I just mentioned, if it starts getting over your limits, which it can real quick with, no offense, there's a lot of ambulance chasers out there, so if these guys get involved, the price is going to go up, especially if they think you have some assets. Now, the only time I will tell you that it's probably not in your best interest to have an umbrella is if you don't own anything. If you're just scrimping to pay the bills every month, you're renting an apartment or a house and you're just barely getting by, yeah, in that case, an umbrella is probably not a big deal because they're not going to go after you for anything because you don't own anything to go after. But I know our listeners, and that's not the majority of who's out there listening to us right now. Most of you have assets, you have homes, you have more than one car. Some of you own businesses, which you ought to have your own umbrella in the business. That's a whole other side note, but you should have an umbrella to protect yourself. And some of you need to really sit down and talk to either Paul or your agent and find out, A, what is your net worth? And do you have enough umbrella to cover all of that? Because $1 million in some of cases may not be enough. No offense, guys, but $1 million doesn't go a very long ways anymore, does it?
No, and most people have never even heard of an umbrella. You talk to them, they say, yeah, I've got one in the closet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Helps protect against the hail we just had, but really you want real coverage to help you with what we've just gone through with weather, etc. And again, I could get into a lot of different circumstances where that umbrella would come in handy. I'm not an agent, but you know what? I've owned businesses since I was 21 years old. I've been in business for myself. I've seen a lot of things happen over the course of time that I've been in business. I've heard from other business owners things that have happened. I've heard from homeowners things that have happened. And in most cases, most folks are underinsured, and it ends up costing them something out of their pocket to handle whatever came up. And that's the last thing you want to have happen. You want to buy insurance. Again, we call it insurance for a reason. You hope to never use it. But when you need it, you want to make sure you're covered properly, right, guys?
Right, and there's no reason spending money out if you don't have enough to cover.
That's exactly right.
You know, and you do need the umbrella. You do need it for your business and for your personal.
That's exactly right. So we'll be back. I got more things I want to talk about along those lines. Lines open. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. 303-477-5600. John Rush, your host, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants in their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each Colorado Select member currently offers Napa's Peace of Mind warranty, but are now also offering an extended 2-year or 24,000-mile warranty on repair work. You won't find this offer anywhere else. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-6272.
You put up with enough squealers. That annoying coworker? Squealer. Your kids fighting? Squealers. And that rat, Billy Parker, in the 5th grade. Big time squealer. So don't take squealing from your brakes. Get up to a $50 rebate Visa card on qualifying brake purchases. $50. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. And participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 5/31/14.
After 30 years of business, Gino's Auto Service is expanding. Hi, this is Jennifer, and my dad owns Gino's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Gino's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Foles and Platte Canyon, or visit us online at ginosautoservice.com. That's ginosautoservice.com.
Your car performs better when things are simple, and it's easy to see how the maze of plumbing under the hood can slow it down. A K&N AirTake system replaces the maze with a single custom engineered tube. The result? A guaranteed increase in horsepower, a dramatic increase you can actually feel. Visit K&N website to look up the extra horsepower available for your vehicle. K&N, an American manufacturer since 1969.
All right, we're back. Sorry for all the laughing. Some of you on YouTube watching us, we're having a good time in between breaks here. One thing Paul was telling us, I'll tell the story real quick. Paul was talking about somebody he insured a while back, and there was a loss claim on the gentleman's policy. This goes back to talking about our umbrella and different things, but there was a loss claim of $25,000 even. And Paul was like, I just couldn't figure out for the life of me, that's just odd to have exactly $25,000. Well, Paul, tell the rest of the story.
Well, the guy had lived in a cul-de-sac up in Erie, and he had built a basketball court in his backyard because he had 13 kids, and the neighbor across the way from him sued him because his feng shui was messed up in his house. The vibration from the ball just messed everything up in his house.
So I looked up feng shui, and sorry if I'm stepping on toes, but I don't believe in any of this nonsense, so I'll just be right out there and just tell you. It's a Chinese philosophical system of harmonizing the human existence with the surrounding environment. So I was saying that Confucius says better have an umbrella policy.
Yeah.
All right, let's go right to the phones. Chuck is up next. Chuck, welcome. What's going on today?
Well, a couple callers back mentioned that he had MedPay. He's the guy that had the Harley and a couple of cars.
Right.
What is MedPay?
Great question.
MedPay is it's coverage that you can buy on your auto policy and motorcycle policy that covers you if you're at fault in an accident. If I hit you, my coverage takes care of you. If I hit you and I don't have any insurance, your uninsured motorist takes care of you. But if you hit me and you're hurt, you can have MedPay on your policy that helps cover you and any of your passengers. And the norm's $5,000, so you'd have 3 passengers. Each person has access to $5,000 to pay for any out-of-pocket expenses from the car accident.
So it doesn't go against your health insurance. So let's say you had a deductible on your health insurance and you hadn't had any claims that year, and anymore with Obamacare and everything else going on, you could have a $2,500 deductible per person. So that'd be $7,500. This would kick in and help with some of that.
Correct. When a lot of people don't have dental or maybe eye, so it covers all that stuff too.
Yeah.
Well, that's really strange. I mean, I called my insurance agent a couple of days ago asking specifically about, if, that it was my fault or I had a mechanical problem and I had been wrecked, would my insurance cover me? And they said no, and nobody offers that.
You need to call Paul. He'll take care of you. So, Paul, give him your number real quick.
And it's not it's not connected with health insurance because that's the reason I haven't been riding is my health insurance lapsed back in February. So
Yeah, I've got a lot of guys that are self-employed that will carry higher limits. They'll carry up to $25,000 on the MedPay because, they carry high deductibles on the commercial side for their health insurance. So they'll offset it with the medical on the car insurance.
Okay. Yeah. Let me have your number. Let me give you a call Monday.
303-619-9891.
Okay. Do you do homeowners as well?
We sure do.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and by the way, like I said earlier, Chuck, they've got a great program. If you can go 3 years without a claim, home, auto, etc., that you'll get a percentage of you get up to 25% of your premium back.
On your home and auto.
On your home and auto.
That's a great deal.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Chuck. Appreciate you calling very much.
Why don't you tell the time that you open on Monday? Because it sounds like you're going to get a lot of phone calls.
And that's actually Monday's Memorial Day, so make it Tuesday.
Yeah, and you know what? Tell them an hour later because I got to call you first.
So Paul will be in the office Tuesday morning, not Monday. So those of you listening, call Paul on Tuesday. But no, I knew this would be a great fit, and I hope Paul can. We haven't talked off air about this, but I hope he sees this. As we've got a lot of callers and a lot of you. Really need to talk to Paul because he can really clue you in on the right side of what you need to do insurance-wise. And I'm not trying to bash any of the other agents or anybody else that's out there, but there's a lot of guys out there that are just trying to sell you a policy. They're just trying to meet the minimums, or you go into Esurance or whatever online to try to meet those minimums so you can go down, get your tags, get your plates, and off you go. And honestly, for all of you listening, that's the wrong way for most of you out there to do that.
Well, and it depends on the company that you hook up with too. I think like we've hooked up with some companies that are pretty good that we can do a lot more in our company,
right?
And we know a lot more because we do a lot more research and stuff. And
and Paul's going to help us. So, anyways, let's go to Wayne, who's next up in Greeley. Wayne, welcome. What's going on today?
Hi, John.
Hey, good to hear from you, Wayne.
Surprised that I got a question other than about my vehicle.
That's all right. That's what we're here for.
Glad you got Paul on there today. Being in Greeley, I guess that's not going to be a problem for me, is it, Paul?
No, I'm licensed in Wyoming, Colorado, and Arizona, and I live up in Brighton, and my office is in Arvada.
Oh, great.
I'll always
but
go
we
to
can
you.
handle this all over the phone if I wanted to change policy or change coverage and so forth.
Sure, whatever convenient.
Sure, Paul. Paul's pretty mobile. I know him well enough to know he'd even drive up and meet you, Wayne.
Well, whatever we need to do, but I've really had some insurance changes here lately, changed from one company to another, and I've gotten into it a lot, but I really need some help, so I'll get a hold of you, Paul. And that 619-9891 is the best number?
Yeah, that's my cell phone.
Oh, well, how about your company phone?
303-662-0789.
Okay, and are you there once in a while at your company phone?
Yeah, either or.
Okay.
You can get a hold of me both ways.
Well, John, thank you, Paul. John, I had another quick question, if you don't mind.
Sure, that's fine, Wayne.
On this 2013 Savannah of mine, I'm getting a little hiss in my power steering, and I've only got about 5,000 on it. So I'm starting to work. It's just when I first started, I put my foot on the brake to put it in reverse. I get a little hiss up there. I get a little hiss if I want to turn the steering at the same time sitting there. And it sets in the garage so it don't get that cold.
Right.
I was wondering about that, and this thing, even their half tons now got Hydro Boost on them.
Right.
And I never had Hydro Boost before, except on my 1-ton RV.
Right.
So I'm wondering I know on your ABS you're supposed to retain some sort of breakage. But what happens if your power steering pump goes out and you got Hydro Boost? Do you still have brakes?
Your brakes get hard.
They're hard as a rock, and you're in trouble. So you really want to make sure you're keeping that belt in good shape and keeping the power steering good, because it's rough on a Hydro Boost system when they go out.
Yeah, it won't stop and it won't steer either one.
Right. It's tough. So yeah, that's one thing on a Hydro Boost you want to make sure you're really paying close attention to. And some of that hissing on a Hydro Boost is pretty normal, Wayne. So I don't think I'd worry about going after that too much unless it gets really loud.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know. You know, GM is so bad anymore. You can't get squat from those people. And I'm sure glad you guys are around.
Well, we appreciate it. Thanks so much for listening, too, Wayne. Good hearing from you.
Same here.
All right. Have a great afternoon. Let's go to Larry real quick before our next break. Larry, what's going on today?
No, not a whole lot. Question for your insurance guy. You know, sometimes when you're going online, there'll be these little boxes that say, your insurance company won't tell you this. If you drive less than 30 miles a month, you get a big discount. Is that just a come on, or is there really something like that? Because I hardly go anywhere.
Well, you've got your rates are going to be based on the annual miles that you drive. So each company's going to have a different price, like a price point break. So, you know, if you're, retired and it's just pleasure use, and you're going 4,000 or 5,000 miles a year, that's going to be one rate. If you're going more than, 8,000 or 10,000 miles a year, that's going to be another rate. If you're going 12,000 miles a year, there's going to be different tiers set up for the insurance company.
Okay, yeah, I'd probably bet you don't drive 2,000 miles a year.
Yeah, so that boxer check, and that's going to be a discount for you for that.
Okay. Another question. After the hailstorm, you see all the dealers going on, their brand new cars are knocking them down 30 and 50%. How does that affect insurance for me?
It's just going to be based on MSRP. So if you're going out and buying a brand new car, they're giving you a discount on the price of the car. That's not going to impact your insurance.
In other words, so the so-called 20, 30, 50% off of the hail damage.
He's talking about a hail-damaged car.
Oh,
hold that thought. That's a whole topic that I want to get into. So, Larry, keep listening. As soon as we come back from this next break, I want to cover that. That's one thing we covered on the Haystack Show on Thursday, but I want Paul to cover it again today. So hang tight. We're going to cover that as soon as we come back. I'm going to drop you off, and we'll go right to Don real quick, and then we'll come back and answer that question. So, Don, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, hi, John. Hi, Dennis. Hi, Dorsey. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing good.
I had a question for Paul.
Okay.
Go ahead, Don.
I just wondered if he could comment on these ads I see on the TV for Progressive Insurance. They call it a snapshot. It's a little box that plugs into your OBD connection, and supposedly it keeps track of how you drive, and if you drive pretty conservatively, you save a ton of money. Is that legit, or is that come on?
I think it's going to go both ways. From the research that we've seen on it, they're going to ding you for every time they're going to check on how often you're braking, how hard you're braking, how often you're driving. So, you got to be careful with Big Brother watching. I think you're going to get some discounts, but at the same time, they're going to see how often you're driving, how late at night are you driving, how early in the morning are you driving, how fast is your average speed. So, gotta be very careful about doing something.
Yeah, they can pull a lot of information out of OBD2 anymore.
Yep, and you should have listened to Haystack on Thursday, because John talked before Haystack.
Yeah.
John got into that quite a bit about Big Brother. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I missed that. Sorry.
That's all right.
That's
That's
okay.
fine, Don.
Yeah.
And I think to just to reiterate what Paul's saying, are there some legitimate discounts for some of those things? I think so, if you're willing to give up some of your freedoms that you're doing when you do that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Which for me is not worth it.
No. I understand. That's why I wanted your perspective.
That's a great question, though, Don. Appreciate you calling and asking.
Sure. You guys have a good day.
You too, man. Appreciate it. Take care. Let's go to a quick break, Matt. We'll come back, and we're going to talk about hail and how that works on the insurance side of the fence. Lines are open. Call us. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. John Rush, your host. Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Do you know how many computers your vehicle has? At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can tell how many there are. If your vehicle is a 1996 or newer, it may have multiple computers. Did you know that car computers need updating just like home or office computers? Arvada West is equipped to update most all vehicle computers. The process usually takes less than an hour and can help your vehicle perform efficiently. From a keyless entry to fuel strategies, this simple procedure can help prevent breakdowns and improve your performance. Call Arvada West Auto and Truck, 303-422-1065. Visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com or stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue, where every question is important.
Have you ever wished there was a place you could take your car, put it on a lift, and work on it yourself? My name is Craig Wallace, owner of DIY Auto Repair Shops. We have the lift, the tools, and the expertise. We offer a multi-tier program that allows you to do it yourself, technically assisted, or we can fix it for you. Check us out online at DIYAutoRepairShops.com or give us a call at 303-429-4000. Again, that's 303-429-4000. Let us know you heard about DIY on Drive Radio, and you'll receive 50% off your first DIY hour. We look forward to helping you succeed repairing and maintaining your car.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every auto repair says so much more than, if it's not right, we'll try to fix it again. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty tells me that this is a master mechanic who's confident, who knows what they're doing. I mean, nobody offers a warranty like that, right? Colorado Select Auto Care Centers do, and only the members of Colorado Select offer a warranty this good. Find a mechanic who's a member of Colorado Select Auto Care at coloradoselect.org.
All right, back on air. Thanks for listening to us. 303-477-5600. And I had an email question come in, so before we get to the hail real quick, I've got a longer email that goes in front of this, but the end question is insurance question if the broker's still around. Do I need to carry supplemental insurance to cover real estate client passengers? So this fellow, and I know him, he emails me quite a bit back and forth, so he's a realtor. Does he need supplemental insurance to cover real estate clients that he's driving around inside of his vehicle?
Yeah, that's what that MedPay would cover. So if it's a real estate agent that's taking people to and from showings and whatnot, he'd need to have that MedPay, because if he did get in an accident, he had a husband and wife in his car, whoever he's with would give each person up to $5,000 to help offset that.
So he really would probably want to even increase that sum and make sure he's got enough coverage on the MedPay to handle that situation.
Yeah, he could probably go up to $25,000.
Yeah, and I would, and so yeah, Chuck, if you're listening, that's what I would do. I'll email you back. By the way, if you're still listening, I'll email you back specifically on your Grand Cherokee question. So I'll read through that at the top of the hour, and I'll get you emailed back here in just a minute. So I won't read that one online. But on the insurance, yes, I think you should. So yeah, there's a lot of you out there that probably are either self-employed or you're a realtor and you work for somebody else, but you use your own vehicle to go to and from. What we just talked about with Paul is really important for you. So let's go to Dave, get a question answered, then we'll talk about hail. Dave, welcome. What's going on?
Oh, pretty good. It's my daughter's 2004 Chevy Impala.
Okay.
And this is a problem with Chevy Impalas. She goes to start it occasionally, and when you turn the ignition switch on regularly and then you go to start, it's like you turn it off, and if she waits 10 minutes, it'll start like a charm. And it's something to do with the security system on those stupid, I think it's 01 to 05 Chevy Impalas and Malibus. So my question is, I've done some things. People say replace a path lock sensor and the ignition switch, and other things say check the BCM. Or not check the BCM, replace a body control module. But when you put a scan tool on it, the security system comes up with like 4 different codes.
Yeah, those can be a little bit of a jungle to segregate as to whether it's the sensor in the pass lock it's the wiring in the pass lock, or it's the BCM. And unless you've got what we call a Tech 2, which is a factory scan tool, you're never going to figure that out without throwing it and replacing every part in it. The BCM's got to be reprogrammed anyway. The pass lock has to be reprogrammed if you replace anything. You're going to be dollars and time ahead to bring it into one of the shops, and we can put our Tech 2 on it.
I want to bring it in because my daughter's moving to the East Coast. That's one thing, being stuck after work in a parking lot in Fort Collins at 10 o'clock at night, and then being stuck in Baltimore or D.C.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
You're 100% correct.
I want to get fixed so she's not.
And the other thing you need to check on that, which, by the way, Dorsey, if you talk to him or and he's probably going to be as close to you as anybody up in the Broomfield area. One thing I would also check on that car, and I was trying to look real quick, and I just don't have time while we're on air here, is to see if there's any bulletins, recalls, anything along those lines on that vehicle also.
Typically what goes wrong with those, and I'm not saying that's what's wrong with yours, but there's some really fine wires in between the key switch and the bottom of the steering column. You have issues with those wires either coming loose from the pass lock body itself or breaking, and they're just teeny tiny micro wires.
Yeah, it's frustrating because it's like you set your watch for it. 10 minutes, it starts right up.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes the pass lock will do that, and then sometimes the security light will come on while you're driving and stay on until you shut it off, and then it won't start again.
And Dorsey may be onto something on just a reflash fixing that, and that's something that you wouldn't know without actually, digging into that, getting the VIN number, digging into it a little bit, and figuring it out. But if that's the case, that's a pretty simple fix, Dave.
Okay, because I keep hearing horror stories of all $800 fixes and stuff like this.
Call Dorsey on Tuesday and let him run the VIN number and such on it and see if he can't help you out with that.
Yeah, because BCM.
I appreciate it.
All right, Dave. Appreciate the phone call very much. All right, guys, let's talk for a second. And I may actually type a response to an email while you guys are chatting about the hail side of the fence. But let's talk about that. So caller was calling in a minute ago about hail damage, and there's a lot of folks out there this past week that have some. My sister, in particular, she looked like somebody took a ball-peen hammer to her year-old Dodge Durango. So a lot of people got hammered this past week. So it happens. So a few questions for you, Paul. We talked about this past week. So, and by the way, somebody called in and wanted to know, how do we hear about the Haystack Show? Can we get a podcast of it, et cetera? Yes, you can. As soon as KLZ puts it up onto the FTP server, I download it, cut out the commercials, et cetera, and I stick that back up onto our website, drive-radio.com. So just keep watching our website. You'll see those podcasts pop up as soon as I have them ready. And in this case, it'll probably be Tuesday before I get those up and running because they weren't on the site this morning. But I'll get those up there for you so you can actually listen to last week's show. But let's say we've had hail damage. Let's get into that.
Yeah, one thing I noticed that driving home after that day, I heard a dealership is already announcing that they have hail damage vehicles, brand new cars with hail damage for sale.
Right.
So if I were to buy that car, what kind of insurance can you even get coverage on that car if it's already has hail damage?
Yeah.
And they probably kept the check?
Yeah. How does all that work?
Yeah, it's just going to depend on the insurance company and how the underwriters want to work with it. I know some of like with our company out there, we'll go ahead and still insure it, but they're going to take that value out of it if there's ever a claim with it.
Yeah. Now some of these dealerships, I don't think they fix the hail damage, right? Don't they just take the checks?
In a lot of cases, they take the checks and discount the car and sell it.
Yeah. So if there's say $3,500 worth of hail damage, and you go out and you buy one of these brand new cars, and then you get in an accident, obviously they're not going to pay out twice on the hail damage, or pay out twice because there's a claim. So you're not going to get that $3,500 back towards fixing the car from the car accident.
Yeah.
Like I've had a lot of people where they'll file a claim, get hail damage, total out their car, take the check, and then go get the hail damage fixed on their own, and then we put full coverage back on that car.
Okay, and then that brings up another question. If
Go ahead.
Did that kind of answer where we were going with that?
I think so, but keep going. You're fine.
What happens is, let's say I'm in an accident, right? And then I go through and I get an estimate, and they tell me it's going to be $2,500 to fix my car, and I don't have them fix it. I was in a front-end accident, and the fender's all banged up. I say, you know what, I don't want to do anything with it. And I take that check, and then I get another, and I cash it, and then I get another accident 6 months later. You guys don't cover that damage, right?
Correct. Yeah, they'll go back in and pull those photos off that first claim, and compare the photos from the first claim to the second claim, and then determine, obviously you didn't get the damage fixed, you can't prove that you got it fixed, so then they'll take that supplement out and then give you the remaining amount towards whatever that second damage is.
Okay. Because a lot of people do that. I know that. And also, we were talking about on Thursday about how when damage happens to a car, that people write up what the estimator is going to write up what he can see, and then when he takes off the fenders and the bumpers and stuff, then they start seeing pieces broken or bent. Then they start doing a supplement to it, and that's when you really should get your car fixed anyway, because there could be hidden damage inside there. So.
Yeah, and you see that a lot because the adjusters eyeball it and look at it. They can't tear apart the engine and see, radiators cracked, or water pumps, shot.
Right.
So you see supplements all the time, especially in front end crashes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys. I was typing away there trying to answer that other emails. That answered questions well enough, you think?
I think so. I do know that right now there's been a few dealerships already mentioning that they got hail damage, and
and so the case in point, we talked about this on Thursday. What you need to make sure of before you either, and by the way, there's lots of things you can do now that you've had hail damage. There's a process that you need to go through in determining, do I take the check, pay the car down? If the car is paid for, do I take the check? Even if it's close enough to being paid off. In fact, this is another great one. If the check would pay the car off, do you do that, live with the hail damage, carry liability only from that point forward, and save some money? That's your call. I don't know. The other option would be, let's say that the check pays for half of what's owed on the car. Again, you're going to have to do your own math and determine, is it worth getting that car paid off that much faster, knowing that you're still going to have the hail damage on it and not have it fixed? But you need to check with your insurance company first to make sure that you can still get insured after the fact. Let's say, for example, you want to pay the car down, save some money that way, or have a less of a loan, if you would, that way. But you're not going to fix it, but you still need full coverage. You need to check with your insurance company to even see if they will do that, and if so, are they going to exclude, which they more than likely will, exclude certain things on the full coverage? They probably will in that case.
Right. Well, I think the other thing you got to think about, too, is if you've got a loan with, let's say, Belco or one of the credit unions out there, and you're getting a check, chances are that check's going
to go to both. That's right. It's going to go to you and the lender both.
And
Correct.
you still got to keep full in coverage if you have a lien on your car.
Yeah, if you still any kind of a lien that's still left on it, if they're holding the title, you're going to have full coverage.
And you can't get full coverage if you don't do all the damage repair.
Or it's going to be full coverage excluding some damage, which we talked about on Thursday. So we'll get that show back up on the podcast and talk about that. But just be careful. Yes, you have options when it comes to what to do after there's been hail damage. The first thing we talked about last week was, number one, right now, I don't think I'd do anything quite yet. Just stop panicking, quit worrying about it. We're still in for some more rounds of storms, even through the weekend. I would not get in a big hurry about making that decision one way or the other yet. Get through all these storms, figure out what's going to happen, and then try to make a decision on whether or not you need to fix it, keep it, do whatever you want to do, pay down the car. And again, each situation is going to be a little different. And Paul, I'm guessing that in some cases, if you've got the right agent like yourself, you could actually walk through with a person, here's probably some good options for you on what to do, financially speaking, and kind of advise them on what they need to do, correct?
Correct, yeah. With a lot of the people that called me with Green Valley Ranch, I've got them calling independent roofers to go out there because you got to be careful of the roofers, especially what happened back in 2009 and 2010. Right. So I've been telling people, get roofers out there, get estimates from the roofer. They should be able to climb up on that roof, give you an estimate based on what their cost is to fix the roof. They don't need to get with the insurance company to see, what the insurance company's willing to give them, because, see, they want to match up their estimate with the insurance company's estimate because they don't want to leave any money on the table.
Right.
You should be able to get 2 or 3 good independent numbers from these roofers showing you what it's going to cost to do the roof, and then get the claim going, get the adjuster out there, see if there is damage. Like with my clients, I'm willing to sit down with them, go through the claim once they get that paperwork, because you get 20 pages, you can't make heads or tails out of it. There's too many numbers.
Right. That's a great point. So, yeah, so that there again, that's what a good agent will do. Again, no offense, but if you've got an online agent, not sure you're going to get that one-on-one service that we're talking about here, which, again, that's what we love. I mean, we pride ourselves on giving that one-to-one service so that you can come in, talk to either one of us at our Colorado Select facilities, call Paul, call some of our sponsors. Isaac, our our broker. If you're going to go buy a new car, instead of going down to the dealership, call Isaac. He'll sit down, do the same things, and evaluate the same sort of stuff that Paul's doing on the insurance side. You then can make a great educated decision on what you're going to do, how you're going to proceed, and you always make better decisions when you have more information. Right, guys?
That's right.
So with that, let's take a quick break. Lines are open, by the way. Call us. We'd love to get you on air. 303-477-5600. Could be a question for Paul or just a general question. Doesn't matter. Cars, boats, RVs, jet skis, you name it. We can answer them all. Motorcycles, whatever. Give us a call. We'd love to chat with you. 303-477-5600. John Rush, your host, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Right now at Napa, get your favorite flavor of Valvoline Conventional or Max Life Motor Oil for just $3.59 a quart. Buy 5 quarts, and you'll also get a $7 mail-in rebate. Yep, $7. Enough to get a plate of bacon with a side of bacon smothered in bacon. Now that's tasty. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 5/31/14.
Ah, summer. A time of fun, sun, high temperatures, and the ultimate family road trip. Before embarking on the ultimate family adventure, bring your vehicle over to Fort Collins 4x4 Center for a little TLC. Our summer maintenance inspection includes pressure testing your air conditioning system, checking your coolant levels and tire pressure, testing your battery, inspecting your hoses and belts for cracks, cuts, and bulges, testing your transmission, power steering, and brake fluids. Having your vehicle inspected before a long road trip can keep you on the road, not stuck beside it during your vacation. Fort Collins 4x4 is under new ownership as of January 2014. Stop by and see what's new. Located a few blocks north of Old Town on College Avenue in Hemlock, we are open to serve you Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30 p.m. with shuttle service and after-hours drop. Give us a call at 970-482-5500. Follow us on Facebook or check us out at FortCollins4x4.com.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
All right, thanks for listening to us today. One line open is all. 303-477-5600 is our phone number. And let's go to Mark, I believe, is next. Mark, welcome.
Welcome. I have a question. My wife has a 2003 Mini Cooper.
Okay.
I'm tired of taking it to the dealers to get service. Is there somebody in your group or somebody you know of who deals with that car exclusively or knows or can deal with that car?
Well, and are you looking for just general, let's help you with the maintenance side of the fence, general repairs, etc.?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I took it to a local shop down here not too long ago just to have the oil changed and some of the basic maintenance like that, and I've got every light in the dash is lit.
Yeah, your reset lights.
Yeah. That stuff is not that difficult to deal with, and the majority of the shops in our group, in the Colorado Select Auto Care group, can handle that car. So you just ended up going to somebody that just didn't have the knowledge to handle that particular car, but the majority of our guys do. And I wouldn't say that anybody, other than probably Kurt over at Anderson's, he's our kind of our European expert. He's on West Colfax. He'd be the resident expert, but any of the guys in the group can handle just the day-to-day maintenance stuff.
Okay, very good. But anyway, you do recommend him. But where on West Colfax is he?
He's right off of I-70 in West Colfax.
Okay.
Yep, and great guy, by the way. Tell him you listen to the show, and he'll take care of you.
Very good. Thank you.
You betcha, Mark. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. Let's go to Bob in Denver, who is next. Bob, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much. You guys always do a great show.
Well, thank you.
I'm a listener. And I have a question for a neighbor that has a 2008 Impala. It hasn't got the hail damage, knock on wood, yet.
Okay.
But he owes more on it than what it's worth. What does the guy do? There's probably not an answer for that, is there?
Well, that's a great question, and And next time I have Isaac on with us, we'll get into more details on this because it's something I definitely want to cover because a lot of people are upside down in vehicles. That's a very, very common thing to have happen. And there's only one way to get out of being upside down. You have to have more money to put towards the car, either refinancing it, paying some down, getting out of being upside down, or trying to go out and sell that car, trade the car in, bring money to the table, get away from the car at that point in time. That's about the only, I should say. And one other option is you just keep paying on the loan long enough to where eventually you're not upside down anymore, but in some cases that could be several years down the road.
Yeah, and the other problem is that he's getting kind of old and he hasn't been driving much and he's been driving less and less.
So what do you think, do you have any idea what he owes on the car right now?
No.
Okay, you just know he's upside down in it.
Yeah, he told me that.
And do you think he's... And this is one of those situations, too, Bob, if you'd send me an email and give me some specifics as to, here's the VIN number, here's the make and model, what kind of condition the car is in, how many miles are on it, I can kind of do some research with Isaac and tell you roughly what the car is worth, wholesale versus retail, and you tell me what the loan amount is, and I can kind of tell you, how far upside down he really is. Because if it's not that far, he may be better off to just go ahead and make the payments for another, 12 months and get upside down, if you would, or get out of being upside down by doing it that way.
I'd have him check, too, to make sure he's got gap insurance either through the lender or through his insurance company. Because
he's upside down, yes.
You can buy that gap insurance, and it gives you up to $10,000 worth of coverage between the value of the car and the loan.
Good point.
Is that right?
Yeah, and that's especially true on the insurance side of it. Something we don't talk much about. In fact, we should. We got lines full, so I think as soon as we come back from the noon hour, we'll talk a little bit about gap insurance.
Because told tomorrow he might.
You'd have to come to the table. That's right. That's right.
Money.
But anyways, if you do that, Bob, just email me. It's john@drive-radio.com. Send me some details, and I can tell you exactly how upside down he is and what his next options would be.
I greatly appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Bob.
And have you guys all do a great job, and please have a safe, good holiday.
You do the same. Happy Memorial Day to you. Thank you very much. Let's go to Paul, who is next. Paul, welcome.
Hey, John, I called you last week about Thermal.
Yes.
And got a couple other things.
Great. And just so you know, I sent them an email. And kind of said, here's who I am, here's what's going on, etc. I did that about midweek, and I have not heard anything back from them. I figured I'd give them a couple of days to respond. If I don't hear from them, I'm going to email and call again. And I was really asking, because the other thing I noticed is there's no Colorado distributors for that particular product.
Right.
Which I thought was interesting. So I kind of did some fishing of, A, will they give us some samples so we can try it out? B, who's distributing, and is that something maybe, I could help them with on our end of things? So I'll let you know what they tell me.
Okay, good. You remember my 55 Willys wagon that you guys before you left your Valmont place?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's now going to be in the Proof of Palooza. That's the Fresh Fish Company's auto show tomorrow.
Oh, really?
At the restaurant, yeah. I got it. I had a for sale sign on it, but every time I start it up, I can't sell it. So, I got
that's the way that is.
It's got a lot of scratches and stuff, but it's a Jeep.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So
that's awesome. Good for you. So where's that going to be? Where's the Fresh Fish Company? Give us an address.
It's I-25 in Hampton.
Okay.
At the Tamarack.
Okay. Is that tomorrow or Monday?
That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay. Well, if I get out and about, I might stop in.
Yeah, she'll have a couple hundred cars there.
Awesome.
The show is actually 11 to 3.
Okay.
Everybody's a winner. There is a $10 entrance fee because it's going to a family, that poor family.
Okay.
They had
cool.
two sons that committed suicide.
That's not good.
They're on the lecture tour to high schoolers to help prevent this.
Yeah, that's good. Well, the great cause. No, and yeah. We'll promote that. So, yeah, anybody that's listening, stop by, enjoy. And, yeah, Paul, you have a great time. And if I get out in that area, I'll stop by and I'll say hi.
Also, I got a Mini Cooper.
Okay.
There's a man that was like 12 years at the dealer, and he started his own. He bought a very nice station, and he needs help. It's Fernie's, Ferney''S.
Okay.
4611 South Santa Fe Drive.
Okay, great.
Really knowledgeable, over the dealer price,
Sure.
40%.
Sure. Well, great. Appreciate that, Paul.
All right.
Well, hey, have a great Memorial Day. We appreciate it very much, and I'll let you know if I hear any more on the other product that I was looking into. I'll get into that once I hear more about it, and I'll let the listeners know what we find. But let's go to Francis, who is next. Francis, welcome. What's going on today?
Oh, I had a 98 Ford Ranger 3.0 engine, and they had one of those K&N filters on there when I bought it, and it would always idle kind of rough, so I changed it out and put in the regular one, and it never idled rough again. On this 05, I noticed the Malibu Classic with the 2.2. They've got a K&N filter in a canister on there, but it kind of will idle rough when you come to a stop sign. You can't notice it too much, but I did notice it was doing the same thing, not as much, but that's probably 16 valves to just, the other one was 8. But what's going on with that? What's that supposed to be that done wrong or something that...
The only thing that I could think of that would possibly be the issue, and I don't know on the Ford since it's not even around anymore, there really shouldn't be any difference. When you put that K&N filter in, you shouldn't notice any difference in the way it runs. If you do, you need to call K&N's tech support line and have them walk you through a few things and make sure that everything's been, installed properly, put together, etc. The only other thing that K&N does is it flows more air.
Okay.
So, if you've got, for example, a dirty mass airflow sensor or something along those lines, it will pick up and act more erratically because you're pushing more air across it than you would be with a normal filter. That's about the only thing we've seen cause any issues.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
And that's cleanable, by the way, what I just mentioned.
How do you clean the air mass sensors?
There's a special cleaner. You have to be very careful, though, in how you do it so that you don't damage it. And you have to use a specific mass airflow cleaner. So for everybody else out there listening, some of you do-it-yourselfers, never clean a mass airflow sensor with anything other than mass airflow sensor cleaner, period.
You go to Napa?
Yes.
Okay, Napa's got a good sale on 20% off a bucket. I heard I'm going to go there now.
There you go. That's right.
I'm going to do that. Now that K&N's saving me a gallon, a mile rather, to a gallon every mile.
That's awesome.
Paying it back to
That's awesome. Good for you.
The car fee, you might as well keep it.
That's great.
Well,
yep.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, Francis. One more call before we go to the top of the hour in the news. Mike in Northglenn, what's going on today?
Oh, hi. I have a 97 Grand Caravan, and I'm having electrical problems.
Okay.
The gas gauge does quit working, and the horn, and the cruise control. It's just everything seemed to have stopped working all of a sudden. What should I do?
Guys, any ideas?
Yeah. If you got multiple issues like that, it could be something related with the ignition switch that'll make things on the dash go erratic sometimes. But you're probably better off to bring it in, get the instrument cluster module and everything scanned and see if there's any trouble codes laying around in there that can give you some clues before you just start throwing some parts at it.
Okay. So where should I take it? You have a place?
Yeah, where are you at? You're up in Northglenn? Yeah.
Larry's.
Yeah, we've got places close to you. Larry's Automotive. He's over off of basically Federal and 72nd is probably the closest to you. Best thing to do is just go to coloradoselect.com and look at all of our locations, find the one that's closest to you, and yeah, that's something they can all check out.
Colorado Select?
coloradoselect.com.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, Mike, appreciate the phone call very much. Enjoy your afternoon. Okay, guys, we got about a minute left before we go to the break. Anything we didn't cover during these last 2 hours that I know we're going to cover gap insurance when we come to the next hour. Anything else we missed during these last couple of hours? Covered a lot of stuff, by the way.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
We've done a lot, so keep calling us. Lines are open. We want to get you on before we go to the news. 303-477-5600. Lines are open. We'll get you geared up through the news. Have you ready to go as soon as we come back? I do have, so those of you that are out there, stay tuned. Don't go away through the news. As soon as we come back right after the news, I'm going to play a special tribute for Memorial Day. Want y'all to listen to that. We did something similar to that on Mother's Day. I found something today that I thought would be very appropriate, so you're going to want to hang around and listen to that. During the last hour, again, we're going to talk about gap insurance. if we have time and we can get to it, we'll talk about some things that you could use for some travel tips. And then I've also got, and I was going to run some of these past Paul, 11 little-known car insurance discounts. So we'll run through a few of these and actually see whether or not they're true. We'll do that as soon as we come back from the news. Don't go away. I'm your host, John Rush, Drive Radio. We'll be back right after the news, KLZ 560, The Source.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
You know, it's kind of fun to publicly horsewhip Karl Rove. I think it's a good idea to remind Republicans, especially Republican activists, that this guy is not the man to follow for his advice, for his election strategies. He's got a losing record. He was right there in the president's ear as some of the worst political decisions for constitutionally limited government were made, really, in my lifetime.
Wake up with Randy Corcoran, mornings at 5 on KLZ 560, The Source. This is the legendary KLZ, AM 560, KLZ HD Denver, and online streaming at 560thesource.com. Since 1922, KLZ Denver.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Ken Stevens.
As Commander-in-Chief, I believe that taking care of our veterans and their families is a sacred obligation.
President Obama, in his weekly address, looking to do some damage control over his administration's handling of the VA scandal.
In recent weeks, we've seen again how much more our nation has to do to make sure all our veterans get the care they deserve.
Critics slamming the president for a delayed reaction to news of the crisis and calling for the resignation of VA Chief Eric Shinseki. Republicans in their address sending Pennsylvania Congressman Bill Schuster to talk about a bill expected to be signed to overhaul the nation's commercial seaports. Schuster saying it will also help create and keep thousands of jobs in America.
So Republicans have turned the page on the old ways. We're setting hard deadlines and cost limits. We're cutting out the outdated projects, unnecessary bureaucracy. And there are absolutely no earmarks.
This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to the Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or, if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
The Blaze Radio News on KLZ 560 The Source.
The Jason Lewis Show, weeknights from 7 to 10 on KLZ 560 The Source.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
Watch this.
Because Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing will be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, hour number 3, Drive Radio. I've been your host today, John Rush, along with Dorsey Johnson from Arvada West, Dennis Brewster from Extreme Mountain Parker, and Paul Leuenberger, our resident insurance expert, who we've talked a lot through these last couple of hours about insurance. We'll talk about gap insurance here in just a moment. We've got a line open, 303-477-5600. But today is Memorial Day weekend, so the beginning of the weekend actually typically starts on Friday, but it's Memorial Day weekend. I went out this morning and found some clips of some interviews and different things that I thought would be interesting to play, and I found one specifically that I really thought was appropriate for the weekend. And I know it's older, so some of what our president at the time, President Reagan, is going to say doesn't include some of our Iraq vets and Afghanistan vets. So some of you that are out there, that's still you're still included in our hearts and our thoughts and our minds, etc. But what Reagan said was very important, and I don't get politically we get too political on this show a lot, but I will say this: I wish we had another president like Reagan. He is still one of my all-time favorites. I think he did a great job for our country, and I wish we had more men like him in office today that really would take a stand for what we as a country are and what our history is and where we need to head. But let's play this real quick. Happy Memorial Day. Please take a listen.
If we look to the answer as to why for so many years we achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth, it was because here in this land we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. The sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for our freedom. Each one of those markers is a monument to the kind of hero I spoke of earlier. Their lives ended in places called Belleau Wood, the Argonne, Omaha Beach, Salerno, and halfway around the world on Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Pork Chop Hill, the Chosin Reservoir, and in 100 rice paddies and jungles of a place called Vietnam. Under one such marker lies a young man, Martin Treptow, who left his job in a small-town barber shop in 1917 to go to France with the famed Rainbow Division. There on the Western Front, he was killed trying to carry a message between battalions under heavy artillery fire. We're told that on his body was found a diary. On the flyleaf, under the heading, My Pledge, he had written these words: America must win this war. Therefore I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully and do my utmost as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone. We must realize that no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is so formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women. It is a weapon our adversaries in today's world do not have. It is a weapon that we as Americans do have. Let that be understood by those who practice terrorism and prey upon their neighbors. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it now or ever. We are Americans.
And we are Americans. So great speech by President Ronald Reagan, who, again, was one of the heroes of my life, one of the greatest presidents, and at the time, nobody thought so. I'll remind everybody of that. They thought he was one of the worst presidents, at the time, but he's turned out to be one of the best and did a lot of things to bring both aisles together and create some opportunities for our country that we haven't really seen since, and I'm afraid unless we make some other changes, won't. So we got a lot of work to do, America, but the plus side is, and the positive is, we have men and women out there even today that are willing to fight for our freedom, to die for it, and to that I say thank you. So thanks to all the men and women, the families that are sacrificing even today to make sure that our freedom stays as it is, to stay free. And we have your backs. I don't know about all the politicians in Washington, but I can tell you right now that we as men and women of America, I can say for myself, I've got your back, and I really do appreciate all that you do to make sure that we keep freedom alive. So with that, happy Memorial Day, and we'll get back to the show. So let's take, Matt, real quick, let's take a break. We've got some calls coming in. We'll go to a quick break. We'll come back, have a nice long segment. We can talk about gap insurance and take some calls. I'm your host, John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Grab a Napa bucket for $2.99, and everything you fit in it is 20% off. What can you fit in the bucket? A radiator? No. 10 oil filters and 756 pine tree air fresheners? With some elbow grease, maybe. Get your Napa bucket today and save 20% off everything you pack in it. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. Some exclusions apply at participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 5/31/14.
After 30 years of business, Gino's Auto Service is expanding. Hi, this is Jennifer, and my dad owns Gino's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Gino's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Bowles and Platte Canyon, or visit us online at ginosautoservice.com. That's ginosautoservice.com.
All right, we're back. Thanks for listening to us, and I hope you enjoyed that little segment from Ronald Reagan. I know we did. We talked about it here during the break, and great president. And again, thank you so much for those that have sacrificed greatly. As Dennis was saying, that I think we're at a point where, especially some of our, and I guess us old guys always say this, but some of our younger generation, I think at times they think that Memorial Day is just another 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
And it's full of burgers and hot dogs and so on, barbecue, and what I just said to the guys a minute ago is, yeah, and somebody had to die to make sure we had the freedom to flip those burgers and have those hot dogs. So let's not forget that.
If you see or know of someone in the military, at least say thank you to them.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, so with that, let's go to the phones. 303-477-5600. I don't have a name up on my screen, but welcome, Drive Radio. What can I do for you? Who am I talking to?
This is Mike.
Mike, how's it going? Sorry, your name didn't come up on my screen. You've got an Avalon. What's going on with it?
An 08 Avalon Limited. So my wife says when you start it up, it sounds like a lawnmower, and I'm wondering, it sounds like an old solid lifter car to me is where my thing goes back. I know it isn't, but it takes about an hour or so, and then it quiets down. Do you have? Is it's kind of like the Accords? They used to have to set the lifters every 100,000, and what could be, if I know you guys would have to look at it, and I used the Ray at Four Seasons, but it sure sounds a little noisy when you fire it up. We bought it used, 72,000 miles. According to the records, it had the oil changed every 5,000.
Okay.
So it is too noisy when you fire it up.
And it's a 3.5 V6, I assume?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And those are hydraulics, so there's no adjustment on the valves on that. But also, when you're saying it sounds like a lawnmower, are you sounding? Is it do you hear a roar, or do you hear more like a metal noise?
It's more of a metal noise. It's more tapping. I mean, I liken it to my old hot rods with the solid lifters.
Suppose the injectors are making noise?
No, I don't think it'd be the injectors. I'm thinking it's probably going to be the valve, the hydraulics. I wonder what oil was put in it prior, or how clean the oil is. Did they do very good oil changes on it, or did they just change the oil before you bought it to make it look good?
I don't know. That's a very good question. I switched it to Mobile One when I got it. It's down in our home in South Carolina now.
Right.
It'll be here in another 3 weeks. I'm going to have Ray test.
Yeah, that's
oil.
a good idea. Yeah, that's what I would do. Have him look at it.
Listen to it and see. It just makes me sick to think that I've got lifter problems at 80,000 miles on this thing.
I doubt if it's that. It's probably either some oil sludging problems or...
Which they had if they didn't get oil changed often enough or with the right type of oil.
Yeah, if they didn't run Mobile One in them all their life, they'll get oil sludging real bad.
But there is some hope on that in a way. There are some cleaners that you can throw in there that might help. That you can, you put an additive in. We put a chemical in with the oil to kind of help break it up.
Yeah.
And then we do an engine flush kind of like thing, and then put an additive in later. It might take a couple treatments of that before it'll work.
Okay, well, I'll drag it over to Ray and see what happens. But it shouldn't be rattling the way it is, I can tell you that.
No,
it should be quiet.
Yep. All
Yep.
right.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Mike. Take care. Have a great afternoon and a good Memorial Day weekend. Don is up next. Don, welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing?
Doing great. What can we do for you?
I got a question. I heard you talking about centennial leasing over the weeks or months. If I get them to buy a car or a truck for me, do they help me sell my car?
Well, and they are no longer one of our partners, but we have somebody that I know does and can help you with that. So let me get you in touch with Isaac Bouchard. He's with Preferred Auto Brokers, and his number is 303 475 1462.
Okay.
And yes, he can do everything that you just got done asking for and do it on a very personal basis.
Alrighty, and one more thing. I might have asked you this before at one time. My daughter's got the 2005 Dodge Durango.
Okay.
And the gas doesn't shut off at the gas pump. She's tried several different stations. I don't know if I asked you that before. Is there like a service bulletin you can go check on that, or is there something in the gas tank doing that?
You might want to check service bulletins on them. A lot of the cars out there have had service bulletins on them. One of the other things that has what we call onboard vapor recovery, and that relies upon the evaporative emission system. You can have problems with that where you got a plugged up valve or a line and it doesn't handle the vapor pressure right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So do I check with the dealer on that, or can I come by you?
No, we can check that for you. In fact, Dorsey's right in Arvada. He can do that for you.
Yeah, I've been to Dorsey. He's saved my car a lot of times.
Well,
and
he'll save it again.
Got a comment, too, if I may.
Sure.
I listened to somebody yesterday on another show, and they were talking about somebody had a car that was like 10 or 12 years old with 50,000 miles on it, and the guy on there says, oh, you can change plugs in another 60,000 miles. And Paula and Dorsey saved me on that one. They told me to think years, not miles.
Yeah, that was don't know who said that or what the circumstances were, but from just the face value of what you just said, that was wrong information.
Oh, you bet it was. And I didn't think about that until Paula told me that when I came in several years ago and have a tune-up done, because the car was 12 years old and had like 70 or 80,000 miles on it. And they told me, you got to think of the years.
That's
they
right.
might be seized in there.
That's right.
And my goodness, you don't think about that until somebody tells you about it. So I just wanted to pass that
That's
along.
great. I appreciate that, Don. Thank you very much.
And Dorsey's taking good care of me.
All right. Well, appreciate you saying that. Thanks a lot, Don. Have a great weekend. Lines open 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. And we got about 40 minutes of the show left is all. Call us. We'll get as many questions answered as we can. And I don't know what our weather is going to do quite yet this afternoon. It's starting to change.
We're watching it change. Yeah.
We have. And be safe. We'll talk more about some of the weather conditions and things that have gone on when it comes to some of the things that we'll talk about insurance-wise. But
real quick,
go ahead.
I just want to kind of comment on Don's comment because people might be wondering what we were talking about. But if you wait too long for your plugs to be changed, they'll seize to the heads.
Yes.
Is what happens.
Yes.
And
that's what he was trying to say.
That's what he was trying to tell us or mention. And sometimes mileage is one thing, but time
is another. And that's the same with fluids, belts, hoses, other things along those lines.
Everything.
That's exactly right.
Everything. And then we had a caller, the one with the Avalon.
Right.
You know, if he would have had, if next time you guys go to purchase a car, make sure you take it to someone to have it checked out, and preferably a Colorado Select member.
Right.
But because we do a used car check on your vehicle, and then we can tell, like we were talking about insurance, this helps all the way down the line, because if a car's coming from back east or even anywhere around here and it's been in a flood, we can tell.
That's right.
We can look at these cars, we can tell if they've had body damage done or anything done to the car, or not done their proper maintenance, or not done a very good job of cleaning this car out or taking a good care of it.
That's a great
so make
point.
sure you take it in and have a used car check. It's worth the dollars in the long
point.
run.
Great point. Okay, so before we go to our next break, we got a few minutes here. Gap insurance. Talk to us about gap insurance. Who should have it? Where should you buy it? Because it's always it's always recommended to be bought when you're in the F&I department buying a new or used car. That's probably the last place to buy gap insurance. So, Paul, talk to us about that and how that works. First of all, explain what it is, because some don't even know.
What gap insurance is it covers the difference between the loan on the car and the value of the car. So if you're upside down on a car, it covers the gap of that loan difference. It's cheaper always to go through the insurance companies. At least with our insurance company, it runs you anywhere from $1.50 to $2 a month, and it'll cover up to $10,000 of gap. You can add that coverage anytime you want, and then take it off whenever you've become right side up.
When you're right side up, yeah. Yeah. So, and again, let's explain it just for a quick second. Upside down means you owe more money on the car than what it's worth. And one thing that you really need to look at on that is don't look at Kelley Blue Book and go look at a retail price, excellent condition, and think that's what you're going to get out of the car. So if I've got, my loan is less than that, then great, I'm fine, I'll be okay insurance-wise, etc. Don't look at it that way. Look at a probably more of a good condition. In other words, take a few dollars off of that retail price, or look at the wholesale price and base it on that. Because when it comes time to actually, if, God forbid, you were in a bad accident, something happens, car's totaled, and you're going through that process, it's going to be tough to tell whether that car was excellent or good, and they're going to go off of a different value than what Kelley Blue Book is saying as excellent condition, unless you've got a different type of insurance, correct?
Correct. And look at the length of your loan, how much money you're willing to put down, the interest rate. I mean, you do a 7-year loan and you're putting no money down.
You're going to be upside down for a while, at least 3 years.
Correct.
Yeah, so no, that's a good point. So gap insurance covers the gap in dollars that the insurance company's not going to pay you to get the car paid off. Because if the car gets totaled, the loan has to be paid off, you're going to write a check to make up that difference unless you have gap insurance.
Yeah, we're insuring the car, not the loan. Gap insurance is insuring the gap between the two.
The gap between the two. That's exactly right. All right, let's take another call. Let's go to Rich in Castle Rock. Rich, welcome. What's going on today?
Hi, my son has a 3500 Silverado service truck with dually wheels,
Yep.
I was just trying to figure out how many grease zerks it has.
Not many. What year is it?
It's a 2003.
2003. It's going to have some on the front drive shaft.
Yeah.
It's going to have a few on it'll have one on the idler arm. It'll have some on the tie rods, on the inner portion, sometimes not on the outer. You'll have to look at that and see. If it's factory ball joints, they're probably not greasable. If they're aftermarket ball joints, in other words, if they've been changed, they may have grease zerks in them. You'll have to look at that and see.
Okay.
There's nothing in the rear, and that's about it.
Really? Drive shaft and the front end, then?
That's about it. There's not as many grease zerks on cars as there used to be.
No, I know. I just, when you talk to the service company, the dealer that he's dealing with said there aren't any.
No, there are some, but especially on the drive shaft. That one on the front does have a CV shaft, and it does have you need a needle. I can't talk. You need a needle to go on the end of your gun to get into that particular zerk.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Okay.
I'll tell him. Great. Thank you.
All right, Rich. Appreciate it. And we got another call coming in, so we'll wait just a second. We'll catch that one in a minute. We got a line open, 303-477-5600. Okay, let's. I'll put Paul on the spot here. So some of these insurance discounts. Let's see if these actually are true or not. Annual mileage. So is there a discount for the amount of miles you drive?
Yeah, that's going to be part of the rating factor.
Okay. And so that depends on whether you're driving 3,000, 5,000, 20,000 miles a year is all going to have a difference in how you're rated, right?
Yeah, if you're retired, you got pleasure use. If you're driving to and from work, distance you're going each day.
Okay. What about use of car? Is there any discounts for that?
Yeah, that's what pleasure use versus work car.
Okay. And this article says people who use the car for farming, for example, as opposed to business or pleasure will get a steeper discount, says this lady that wrote this article. Roughly 40% of surveyed companies offered this discount with an average savings of 10%, which I thought was interesting. So basically she's saying if you use it for farming, you get a bigger discount. I don't quite understand that one.
Like if you've got a farm truck.
Oh, you're going to get a bigger discount on that?
Yeah, you've got farm trucks on that. You live out in Kingsburg with 4 acres and you're pulling cattle and stuff like that. You'll see it, but you live in downtown Denver.
You're not.
No.
Got it. The urban farmer's not getting a discount.
It has more to do with the region you live in if you're out in the farm country.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And again, line open. Give us a call, 303-477-5600. Advance renewal. Is there discounts for advance renewals?
No.
Okay. So this one is saying there is, but you're saying in most cases it's not.
Let me ask. Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Don't let him do that.
Bringing up the farm issue, I kind of tie that in sometimes to the horse trailers that are being pulled, stock trailers or horse trailers with a horse or cattle in them. If let's say you got a 1-ton dually and he's fully insured with you for the truck, well, what about the trailer and the cargo?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I see that a lot with the car guys, and a lot of the guys out there are misinformed. The liability covers it. So if you're pulling a trailer and it comes off the hitch and smacks into somebody and kills them, the liability from the vehicle pulling the trailer is going to continue through the trailer. But where people run into problems is they don't insure the trailer itself for comp and collision. So theft, fire, vandalism, comes off the hitch and hits a tree, that kind of stuff is not covered unless you have a small policy on it just for comp and collision. And those are cheap. I mean, I see guys with $10,000 trailers, $50, $60 a year is what it costs.
And what about, in Dorsey's example, what about the contents? You lose 2 horses in that accident, then what?
Homeowners.
Okay, so you better have your horses insured on your homeowner's policy.
What about a camper? Like I have a 28-foot, camping trailer, and we go camping and stuff. Is there insurance on that?
I've seen your trailer. It's not insurable.
It's a homemade one. No, because you pay pretty good price for these things, and then you're out camping or something, and
so that's a separate insurance policy also, right?
For like travel trailers, pop-up trailers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you'll have a coverage for comp and collision on that. Anything that's factory installed is covered under that trailer. Anything that's you've put in there, pots, pans, clothes, that kind of stuff's going to be covered under your homeowners.
I don't even think of that stuff. I just figure, the trailer itself.
Yeah, and the nice thing that we do on the trailer side is trailers that are bought, if you bought a 2014 trailer, we guarantee full replacement costs for the first 5 years. So if it's 2018 and that trailer is destroyed, we'll give you a 2018 trailer, same make and model.
Got it.
If it's been discontinued, whatever it's continued with.
Great.
Well, you're just really pushing, aren't you?
Yeah, good info.
Yeah, you're just pushing, right?
And also, quickly, before we go to our next break, Paul also, and he's going to be bashful and not say this, but I will, he also does, American National, they do home, life. Yeah, so you can do life insurance and all that also, car, boat, all those sorts of things. So really, almost, in fact, even business insurance and all that sort of stuff too, correct?
A little bit.
Yeah. So you can pretty much run a full gamut. Best thing to do if somebody's got some interest is just call you. You could walk them through. They could tell you their circumstances. You can say what you can help with, not help with, etc. Correct?
Yeah, we've been around since 1905. We just don't do any advertising. It's all word of mouth and what the agents do as a whole.
Yeah. So, and I was talking to Paul about that a little bit through the break. 1905, so company's healthy, and as you all know, that's all regulated. Companies have to have certain criteria to meet certain ratings, etc. Where do they fit into the rating aspect between them and say some of the big companies that are out there?
We're up there with everybody. We've got an A+ for financial stability, AA with Standard & Poor's. I mean,
so that's good.
We just don't do any advertising.
So, and my reason I said that was the last thing you want to do is go out and get insurance from fly-by-night Charlies, and pretty soon all of your policies that you have in effect, a hailstorm comes through and that company's not solvent anymore, and wham, now you're in trouble. So you want to make sure the company you're dealing with, any company you're dealing with, has good ratings.
Correct.
And that has to do with how many losses they've had, how financially stable they are, so on and so forth. So, yeah, great company, and that's partly why we've teamed up with them. So let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. We got Brian and Parker, and we'll be back. Lines open, 303-477-5600. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560, The Source.
Have you failed an emissions test and don't know what to do? Have you been trying to fix it yourself? Arvada West is your answer. We score 100% on our success ratio. That's confidence for the customer. We are always willing to explain the repair process to you. We use a proven diagnostic format that we have developed since the emissions program began here in Colorado. For an honest, understandable, and reasonably priced diagnosis, stop by and see us. We've helped clean our Colorado air since 1981. Call Arvada West Auto and Truck 303-422-1065 or see us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com. If you would like to stop by to make an appointment, we are at 11752 West 64th Avenue.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in Boulder? At John's 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From big trucks to diesel pickups, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to John's 4x4. Located on Arapahoe Road, just east of 63rd, behind Carpet 1. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at John's 4x4 Center are committed to providing the personal and professional service you're looking for. Give them a call at 303-449-2640. Check them out on the web or follow them on Facebook at johns4x4.com.
Have you ever wished there was a place you could take your car, put it on a lift, and work on it yourself? My name is Craig Wallace, owner of DIY Auto Repair Shops. We have the lift, the tools, and the expertise. We offer a multi-tier program that allows you to do it yourself, technically assisted, or we can fix it for you. Check us out online at DIYAutoRepairShops.com or give us a call at 303-429-4000. Again, that's 303-429-4000. Let us know you heard about DIY on Drive Radio, and you'll receive 50% off your first DIY hour. We look forward to helping you succeed repairing and maintaining your car.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
All right, half hour left of Drive Radio. Hope you've enjoyed it. Line open is all. One line open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Let's go to Brian and Parker, who's up next. Brian, welcome. What's going on today?
Good afternoon. I enjoy your program very much.
Well, thank you.
Last week, there was a gentleman, I believe it was, who called in, and I missed most of the segment, but he called in about the batteries, and he had some kind of an oil that he floated on top of the electrolyte.
Yeah, it's called Therm Oil, THERMOIL, and he actually called in again today, and I did some research this past week, emailed the company trying to figure out if we could get some samples and try it out and kind of do a review of it on air. And then also figure out who distributes it here in Colorado, because they don't have a Colorado distributor. But I haven't gotten them to email me back yet. I emailed them first of the week. Figured I'd give them a few days. If I don't hear anything, I'll call their toll-free number on Tuesday.
Okay, and can you spell the name of it again, please?
It's Therm Oil, so THERMOIL.
Okay, I have that.
And we're going to do some research and see if we can't figure out, if there's something to it. Does it work? He actually had somebody down at Lake Powell, kind of turn him on to it. So we're going to do some research, and if it's something that works, then you know what? We'll tell everybody.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Brian. Thank you very much. So yeah, we'll do some more. Yeah, I'd never heard of it either. Last week, a gentleman called in.
Marine and RV.
Yeah, it's a battery demister, and then it's also a battery desulfator.
It absolutely reduces the vapors for spark explosion.
Right.
Yeah.
And also helps corrosion, from what I understand, because of that.
I've bought it in Oregon for.
Okay. You've used it?
I've used it.
It must be a light film on there. It must be a really light film, because if you have too much,
and it's a real light oil, kind of like Marble Mystery Oil.
Interesting.
Okay.
It's a real light.
Because you can't conduct
it can't conduct any electricity.
Right.
It's almost like adding stable to your battery.
Yeah.
For fuel. Yeah.
But I can see where that would help in the
That's
marine
awesome.
situation.
303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Bob in Denver is up next. Bob, welcome.
Hi. I enjoy your show very much as well.
Thank you.
I have a 2001 Ford F-150 with the 5.4 liter automatic four-wheel drive. I've only had it a few months. I've been shocked at how doggy that motor feels. And I've been looking at some of these tuning kits, Diablo, and some of these aftermarket plug-and-play type tuners.
Right.
I was curious what your opinions were on those, and if you had any recommendations.
Yeah, I do, and I've got opinions both ways, some good, some bad, and of course I had stores that we did that type of work regularly. I owned them for 27 years, John's 4x4, which is still in our group. I sold those a couple of years ago, so yeah, I've got lots and lots of experience along those lines, especially back in that day in 01. We were doing a lot of those, and the complaint on the 5.4, you're not the first one to complain about it. That's a high rev motor. They just don't have the torque that really they should have. It's interesting that Ford is still using it, so they must have felt strongly enough to continue to use that engine in the applications. And once you get the RPM up, they actually don't work half bad. To your question, though, what are some of the performance upgrades and things you can do? The tuners, they do work. I don't want to say they don't. I'm not a huge, so everybody's going to crucify me now, but I'm not a huge Diablo fan. I just have found their products over the years when I was selling them especially not to be of the quality that some of their competitors were, i.e. Super Chips or Hypertech. If I was going to do that, I would use a Super Chips, Edge Super Chips, which is the same company. That's what I would use. I'm not a huge Diablo fan. The biggest advantage you get in the programmers is the ability to control tire size and shift points in the transmission, which again helps generate more horsepower to the rear wheel.
Okay. But you're not going to see any significant increase in torque or...
The best torque increase you can get on that is by not doing a tuner, but putting a cold air intake from K&N and dual exhaust.
Okay.
Catback exhaust, I should say.
Maybe some shorter headers.
The headers don't do too bad either, but really you should do a cold air intake and do just the catback exhaust and see how well it works. You may just say, yep, that's enough and I'll be good.
Okay, cool.
And then you don't need the tuner when you do that.
Oh, really?
No.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Good. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Bob. Thanks for the phone call. We appreciate it. And let's go to David, who's up next. David, welcome.
Hi there, guys. I've got, this is a related question that approximately the year 2000 for Nissan, be it a Nissan Quest, be it a Maxima, be it a Pathfinder, did they have issues with catalytic converters and the sensors going off in that time period?
Yeah, I don't.
Dennis is our resident Nissan expert, so we're going to let him answer this one.
I don't remember that too much. Why? What do you got?
Well, it's a weird situation. I've got family that has a Pathfinder and a Quest that's had some issues. I'm looking to buy a 2000 Maxima SE, and it's supposedly got some cat issues that were popping up on a code. I'm going to have it checked by a garage before I buy it, but in general, it was mentioned to me. I thought, I don't remember anything.
Well, back then, no, but now you could because your catalytic converter, you got to think about it as 14 years old.
Right.
If you're buying a 2014 or 2000, so that thing's 14 years old, you could have a catalytic converter problem.
Yeah, back then your basic converter was kind of designed to go 50,000 miles.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay. And is it recommended? I'm going to go to a qualified shop that understands the relationship with the cat and so forth, but are universals kind of frowned upon in the world of changing them out?
Yeah, they are.
Stick with the stock. Okay.
Stick with a direct fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there in just this for everybody else listening, and we've talked about this some on the show, but we'll keep reiterating it. There is a vast difference in the quality, which equals longevity, of catalytic converters.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Huge difference. So what I mean by that is some of you are going to go out there, figure out you need a catalytic converter. Envirotest has told you, somebody's told you, hey, the cat's failing, I need to get a cat on it. You're going to price shop that. You're going to get prices all over the map on what it takes. And just beware of the cheap prices, because, yes, you can get a CAT on it. Yes, it'll pass emissions, but it'll fail next year.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, that's what the cheap CATs do. They'll work today, but they won't work in a year.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
This is just it's an extra car in my family, and structurally, I mean, everything about the car is good except for that.
Then
and
fix
I
it
don't
right,
recommend-
keep driving it, and you'll own it another 10 years plus.
Yeah, don't cheapen it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right.
And that was a good vintage of car, correct, for that
Yes.
series?
Yes.
Good cars.
Yeah, they were actually. And Nissan still built some great cars, by the way. They had their struggles in some years, but these last 10 years they've built some great products, and they're a solid company even today.
And the problems they have had.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
The problems they have had, they've standing behind.
That's exactly right. No, so you're in great shape.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks again.
You're very welcome. Thanks so much. Let's go to Mark, and Greeley is up next, but he's on the phone still, so we'll get to him in just a second. 303-477-5600. And I got a very nice email from a listener that said they appreciated our comments earlier and our replaying of Ronald Reagan's speech. So, yeah, you listeners out there, yes, we do appreciate you vets very, very, very much. I've never served personally, but I've had family that have. I've had sons that have, and I know what that means. And, yes, I do appreciate it. And I love our country, and I love the fact that we have freedom. And I just pray dearly, sincerely every day that we continue down the track of keeping that freedom. And, again, I'm not going to get into politics, but it saddens me when we have ambassadors that end up killed on our watch that should have never happened. That's all I'm going to say. We'll move into Mark, who is next. Mark, welcome. What's going on today?
Yeah, guys, I got a 1999 Subaru Legacy. It's got a 2.5 liter, and over the years, it seems like the brakes are just not as solid as my wife's car. She has a 2001 Toyota Corolla, and I've replaced the master cylinder, the brake line hoses, and the front calipers, and it doesn't still seem to have the tightness in the pedal that my wife's car does. And I've air bled it multiple times, and it still doesn't seem like it's tight. And so I did download the service procedure to operation check the brake booster, and just without using the gauges, it seems like it's in compliance with what's written in the book. Is it still possible that the brake booster could be bad?
It's
could
possible.
It be something else?
It's possible. How? I mean, when you say you compare it to the other car, in comparison on, 1 to 10, and the other car being a 10 as far as how the pedal feels and stops, how does this car feel?
Well, as far as the Subaru, I would say probably a 6.
A 6.
When you get in it and you push down on the pedal after you start it, it kind of makes a sound, as if it's blowing air ahead of something.
Yeah.
And when I've tried to pump the brake, just sitting there, it doesn't feel like it gets any harder. But in the manual, it says to shut the motor off and then pump it, and then after about the third pump, it should have, a higher, more compression feel to it, which it does.
Okay.
So I'm a little confused as to
but it could be that
the engine's
it could
running.
be that on a scale of 1 to 10, your booster's working at a 5 or a 6. It hasn't completely failed, but it's not doing its job fully. And if that's the case, then you're going to have the feel that you have.
Oh, so it could still partially fail.
Of course.
Okay.
They can get pinholes in the bladder, for example, to where they're still working some, but not working as efficiently as they should be.
Yeah, and one thing, Mark, when you get in the car, and you fire it up and you drive somewhere and you stop, have you ever pumped the brakes and see if the pedal gets harder?
I have tried that, and it does not, no.
Yeah, then you probably have a booster problem.
Probably do. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I got one other question with that particular vehicle.
Sure. What is it?
With the cooling system, I've noticed years ago that the secondary fan for the air conditioning and radiator system does not kick on when you press the little air conditioning button. And so I did some checks, put power to it, the fan works, checked the relays and the fuses, they all seem to be fine. And so finally, after this was years ago, couldn't diagnose it myself, took it to a shop, and they said they diagnosed it to the, I think it was the ECM or the computer. Is that a possibility? And if I got a used one, would that fix the problem?
I would not buy a used one.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Yeah, too many issues.
Yeah,
with those.
get a known good part, which in your case you're going to want to do a new one, or have somebody. There are some guys in town that are very good at rebuilding the old booster. If you can find somebody to do that, you could go that route also to save money.
But yeah, be careful with that. I would almost have that diagnosed again just to verify to make sure.
Yeah,
get a second opinion on that because I'm trying to remember.
Computers are not real prone to going out.
No, that's true.
Not at all. And one other thing,
Or the computer going out, they're not normally.
And you know what? And that's
we don't have problems with.
And to reiterate what these guys are saying, that's true on every vehicle.
Yeah.
It's really ECMs anymore. It's just not an everyday thing like it was back in the 80s, early 90s to have go bad. They're just so much better today. It's just not that common for that to happen.
Also, I would be.
What I thought, because every other system in the vehicle works fine. I mean, it shifts fine. It runs great. It's just that one fan doesn't kick on for whatever reason.
Yeah, does your air conditioner work real good?
It does, but in the summertime when it's hot, I can't even use it. I actually have to turn it off and turn the heater on to make sure the car doesn't overheat.
To get the fan to come on.
Yeah.
And you just could have something wrong in that cooling circuit.
That secondary fan sometimes turns at a certain speed when your engine reaches a certain temperature. It doesn't just work when the air conditioner is on.
Oh, okay.
All right, sorry, and sorry, Mark, we're up against a break. We got to run. Let's take a quick break. Matt will come right back. Take Marcy up in Fort Collins, and we got a line open 303-477-5600. One segment left. Drive Radio. We'll be back. AM 560 KLZ, the source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
You put up with enough squealers. An annoying coworker? Squealer. Your kids fighting? Squealers. And that rat, Billy Parker, in the 5th grade. Big time squealer. So don't take squealing from your brakes. Get up to a $50 rebate Visa card on qualifying brake purchases. $50. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. And participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 5/31/14.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
I'm going to teach you right now how to find a good, honest mechanic. Ask about the warranty. Their warranty will tell you everything you need to know because their warranty is their word. And Colorado Select Auto Care Centers all offer the best warranty in the state. 3 years, 36,000 miles on every repair. Always select a Colorado Select Auto Care Center at coloradoselect.org. 3 years, 36,000 miles. That's all you need to know.
All right, last segment, Drive Radio. Got a few minutes left. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air as soon as somebody drops off. Lines are full, 303-477-5600. Marcy is up next. Marcy, welcome. What's going on today?
Hi, good afternoon. I was just sitting in a parking lot and some soccer mom hit me with her car door, my little silver car.
I hate that.
Well, yeah, that's all right. It happens, but
It shouldn't, but it does.
And then she acted like it was my fault.
Oh, yeah, because you're parked in her spot. What are you talking about?
Right?
That's right.
Sorry. It doesn't fix my scratch, however.
No,
but,
it does not. So did it take it all the way down to the metal, or can you tell? Well, first of all, what are you driving? What kind of car?
It's a little too super, but it's silver.
Okay.
And she had a black. I think it took it all the way down. Yeah, it did.
So it's all the way down to the metal?
Yes.
Well, that's tough. And what color is your car? Silver?
Silver, yeah.
That makes it even tougher. Because there are touch-up paints that you can buy to kind of fill in the scratch, put some clear coat on top of that, and kind of fill it in. The problem is with silver, it will never match.
Yeah.
The only way to fix that is to take it to a collision center, have them properly, sand that area, fix it, blend the paint in. That's the only way you're going to get that fixed properly.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. My first ding.
That's too bad. Man, that hurts.
well.
I hate that. That makes you want to cry.
No,
It does me. I don't even own the car. I hate that.
It's just right in the middle of the door, and it's just
Did it dent it at all, or did it just scrape it?
I don't think it dented. It might have dented it. Yeah, it dented it a little bit. It sure did. Yeah.
So here's the next step too, just to kind of see how things would look if they fix it. So before you get too worried about the collision center and all of that, take a little bit of polish or some rubbing compound, something like that, and try to rub off all of the black that's on the paint and kind of get a good look at it from that point and see exactly how big the scratch is. And then I would actually decide, okay, do I need to go to a collision center? Do I live with it? Do I just touch it up and let it go for a little bit? Either way, even before you take it to a collision center, go to Napa, get the right touch-up paint, which they can get for you, and make sure you at least touch it up so you don't have bare metal exposed, even before you go to the collision center.
Oh, I should have got her name and number.
Yes, you should have.
Yeah, you could have filed a claim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And you know what? With your phone, you can take pictures of her car,
That's
pictures
right.
of your car. You can take pictures of
It's
her
a great
driver's
phone
license.
call, by the way, because that's exactly it. Just go through the scenario of what these guys are just saying, and that's how you can get reimbursed for that.
But I just,
It happens, and it goes so fast you don't think about it.
well, I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but you know what? It is kind of a big deal. My car's dinged now, and it does have
That's
a
right.
little dent in it, but
And it lost value.
Yeah, and so to Paul's point, you could have turned. So this is a great phone call. So everybody else listening, if you're in this situation, yes, jump out, take some pictures of the other vehicle. Get a statement if you can. If they're not willing to do anything, you could still turn that in.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
But definitely get it touched up, Marcy, and you want to get that metal covered up. Even if it's going to get fixed by a collision center, you want to get that touched up. And I'll even go as far as to say, even if it's the wrong color, touch it up, get something on top of that metal so you don't have any rust problems and make it bigger on down the road. So, but yeah, you can go to Napa, by the way, and get all of that done. They've got the touch-up paint for that actually works out really well, and you can try to blend that as best you can. Let's go to Mickey, who's up next. We have one line open, 303-477-5600. Mickey, you've got a question on uninsured motorists. What's going on?
Hi there. Is Paul still there?
He is.
Yeah. I just thought it'd be a good idea for him to bring up the uninsured motorist property protection rider, because my part of town seems to be an awful lot of people don't have insurance, and they hit your car and then they run away.
Yeah, you can buy that. It's just if you've got comp and collision, that's automatically covered. But if you've got an older car that's just liability only, you can buy uninsured motorist property damage.
Okay.
And it's small deductible, usually $250, $500.
Okay.
Is the deductible, and if somebody hits you and doesn't carry any insurance or doesn't have enough insurance, that's going to cover your car.
So is there limits to that when you buy that, or is that just a package kind of a deal?
It's just you just add it on. It's an endorsement.
Okay, so you just buy it and away you go.
It's cheap.
Okay. All right. Yeah, great point. Thank you, Mickey.
Well, I haven't told him how cheap. I think it's like $12.
Yeah, it depends on the type of car, but usually it runs $2-3 a month at the most.
Wow, so that's really inexpensive.
So if somebody totals out your car, what happens if they got no insurance?
Then you get your car fixed, or you get it at least, if it's totaled out, you get a check for the value of that car.
On uninsured motorists?
Yeah.
Okay.
You only see it, though, on the older cars, because if you've got comp and collision...
It's already there anyways. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I've got my good cars, and I've got beaters, and the beaters tend to be the ones that get the...
Yep. That's a great point. I never thought about that. Even on the older vehicle, just carry uninsured motorists. That way you're at least covered, and it's not that expensive. That's a great tip. Yeah. Thank you, Mickey.
Okay, have a good day.
Hey, appreciate it very much. Thanks so much. Let's go to Connie, who is next. Connie, welcome. What's going on today?
Well, I have a 2002 Chrysler all-wheel van with 98,000 miles on it, and then you've worked on it.
Okay.
The malfunction indicator light is coming on and staying on.
Okay. And when did the light start doing that, Connie?
Wednesday.
Okay, on Wednesday. And is it running okay? Everything working all right? I mean, do you notice anything odd about how it's running, shifting, anything like that?
No, but I'm afraid, that it's really bad, because in here it says the malfunction indicator light flashes to alert you to serious conditions.
If it starts to flash, we don't want you to drive it. If it's just on steady,
it's on steady.
Yeah, you can drive it for a few days until we can get you in, and you could take that over to John's over in Boulder, or you could go over to Demir's over in Longmont, which is by you, whichever is your choice. The new owner in Boulder, Ross, he's a good guy. I consult with him on a regular basis. In fact, Craig Wallace, who's a part of our group, he's going to do some direct consulting and helping with Ross on a routine basis also. So Craig's going to kind of float around a little bit and help us out as a group. So yeah, we've got a lot of bases covered, and either one of those facilities can help you out.
Okay. What is the facility in Longmont?
Longmont is Demir's. It's Marv, and he's up on the north end of Longmont, right on Main Street.
Okay.
Or you can go to Boulder at 63rd and Arapahoe.
Right. Well, I've gone to you a lot, but it'd be probably easier to go to Demir.
Yeah, and again, and even those guys will tell you, whatever's easiest for you, Connie, you do whatever you need to. But again, if you want to go to Boulder, those guys will take care of you also.
Okay.
All right, Connie, thanks so much for your phone call. Have a happy Memorial Day. Let's go to Pat. We probably have time for this call, maybe one more. 303-477-5600. Pat, what's going on?
Okay, I'm see if I can spit this one out. Okay, catalytic converter. My van's has 333,000 miles, and I'm sure it's the original catalytic converter. Is this thing going to explode on me? Here's the other thing. Does your van run rough? I mean, I'm good through the first two gears. Then I accelerate, it just fags right out, man. It's like there's a gremlin pulling plugs on me.
Okay. And you've never done a CAT on it in 333K?
I bought this from my boss who could screw up an anvil. So I've been babying it for 10 years now.
Okay.
Your van is a kind.
It's a Ford. It's a Ford E250. E250,
Okay, E250.
Cargo van.
And has it had plugs or anything along those lines done in it yet at all?
Oh yeah, plugs been done, but he never changed. I was with him the day he changed out the original plugs in 2004.
Okay.
And there was no gap left. They just stalled. But anywho, yeah, that's how well he took care of stuff.
And you could have a couple of different things going on. The cats will not blow up per se, but they can come apart internally. And if they do and they break apart, they can plug up the muffler and they can cause some drivability issues. Now that's not common, but at 330K, if it's never been done, is that possible? Yeah, anything's possible at 330.
Yeah, it's like a ticking time bomb. It's just showing signs. It's just showing signs of tuckering out.
Yeah.
Is your check engine light on? Is your check engine light on?
Is the what?
The check engine light on.
No, I'm all good there. Like I said, I try to take care of this guy.
Okay.
And it started blowing burning oil. Just recently, just started. Blue smoke. Hello.
Okay.
And so I talked to Donnie's dad. He says put some 1520 in it, and that's all you can do. And this Tires Plus, I'm going to tell you, you don't get an oil change by a joint that sells tires. But anyway, they would try to sell me on that their specialty oil.
No.
But anywho, I didn't go for it. But anyway, so I heard another thing. Shall I just rip a hole in that cat converter and so that thing can vent?
No.
No. I wouldn't do that. Yeah.
If anything, put a new cat on it and also check the muffler at the same time and make sure all that's working like it should be.
Okay. Then in the interim, so it's not a good idea to take a sawzall to it like some people.
You could, as a test, you could cut the cat off, drive it, see how it runs, and if it's any better, then you're on the right track. It's going to be very loud when you do that because you'll have open exhaust. But yes, you could do a test that way. Just remember that you have to put things back together pretty quickly or you'll end up with a ticket because it'll be very loud.
I'll end up with a ticket? The way some of these little cars are screaming around here. They sound like they got...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They'll still, especially on an Econoline van, they'll watch you closer than they do some of the other folks. But with that, guys, we're getting close to the end of the show. Appreciate everybody that's come in today and helped out. So we've, other side of the glass, we've got Matt, our engineer, who's done a great job. Paula Johnson, who's done a fantastic job filling in for Larry, which, by the way, Larry had a well-deserved day off. So, Larry, you're probably not listening, but you'll listen to the podcast at some point. Thanks so much for all you do. You mean the world to us. We wouldn't be able to do this show week in and week out without you being down here helping out, so we do appreciate that very, very, very much. Dennis Brewster from Extreme, thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Second time this week, so appreciate that very much.
I'll be here next week, too.
Dennis is out.
Castle Rocks.
Yep, Dennis is out in the Parker area, so go by and see him. Dorsey Johnson from Arvada West, thank him also. And Paul Leuenberger, give him your number real quick again, Paul.
303-619-9891.
And I've been your host, John Rush, and to Dennis's point, come out and see us next week. The Napa store in Castle Rock. I'll have it on our Facebook page. I'll also have it on our website, but come out and see us. We'll be on remote live there. Have lots of good specials and things going on, so come by and see us. But again, I've been your host. Happy Memorial Day. Everybody, enjoy the weekend. Thank you, all of you vets and the people that have sacrificed for our liberty. We appreciate it very, very, very much. I'm your host, John Rush. Drive Radio. God bless. KLZ 560, The Source.